Collective! Welcome to my channel, Nosy Witch Tarot. I am the Nosy Witch and we are back with another pick a card reading. This is my third one now, but I'm really enjoying doing these and I'm really loving the feedback I've had so far. To all those of you who have left a comment or liked my video or subscribed, I am really truly grateful. I do have a significant amount of imposter syndrome when it comes to this. I still struggle with that. So any feedback that you can give me, your kind words, just being nice and gentle human beings, that all not only boosts my self-esteem in a significant way, but it encourages me to carry on with this practice and carrying on growing and learning as a tarot channel. So thank you so much for being here with me and for helping me to build my channel and just helping me to have a bit more confidence with all your lovely comments and feedback. I really do appreciate it. Any little way that you can help me would be absolutely amazing, whether that just be liking the video, whether it be leaving a comment, or really committing to me and subscribing, which again I am so grateful for. Anything would be brilliant. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate those of you who have done any of that so far. So thank you so much for helping me out in that way. Even if you are not comfortable commenting in any way and you are just kind of lurking and watching, I still see you, I still appreciate you, and I still thank you very much for watching. Okay, this reading is titled, How Are You Attractive AF? I don't ever say AF in my real life, but I didn't know what else to title this because I wanted to emphasize my point, but I realized that not everybody appreciates swearing, and if you don't appreciate swearing, then YouTube doesn't either, I don't think, so I didn't want to go against any guidelines. So yeah, it's called How Are You Attractive AF? The reading will be focused predominantly on what is attractive about you. How are you so magnetic? How are you compelling? How are you seductive? Whilst this reading might touch on physical attributes, I realise that this reading is intended for a collective audience and particular physical attributes might not necessarily resonate with everyone. I also find that attraction can be much deeper than what you see on a physical level. So we're also going to kind of delve into what people find attractive about you in terms of your energy, in terms of the vibe that you are putting out there to the world, in terms of your behavior, how you interact with people, things like that. It won't just be about how you superficially look on a surface level. So just know that going into the reading that we are going to concentrate on much more than just what people can see, although of course we may touch on that because it does play a part in physical attraction. So yeah, we are going to go into all of that. This will hopefully be just a little bit of fun, a light-hearted reading, something to hype you up, something to make you feel good and confident, and hopefully it resonates with you. You will notice that I've got 4 piles to pick from today, so I am switching things up a little bit. So with there being 4 piles, these readings might just be a little bit shorter than my previous ones. However, they probably still won't be extremely short because, you know, I do love a good waffle, I love a good ramble. So they're not likely to be super short, but the one thing I will say is that going into the reading, we're going to be starting off the reading and the energy check like usual with an oracle card. However, it will just be this one oracle card, and this oracle card is meant to symbolize the overarching theme for the whole of your reading. It's meant to be a sort of archetype. The oracle cards I've actually used are the Goddess Oracle cards, and I was a little bit reluctant to use them on previous readings, not because they aren't amazing cards, they are absolutely gorgeous and I was really excited to share them, but some of the cards show a little bit of booby and a little bit of female nipple, which we know for some reason, unbeknown to me, YouTube takes massive issue with. That would violate the guidelines, and so I was a little bit reluctant about sharing these cards. However, I have realised that I can simply cover the nipples. In case you're wondering why there is a little bit of tape on some of the cards, that is why. So if you enjoy seeing boobs, if you enjoy seeing the female form, then same, but also be mindful that there are boobs on these cards. If that offends anyone, I don't know why it would. But yeah, unfortunately, no nipple or areola because God forbid a woman show her fully functioning nipple. And with that rant out of the way, also be mindful that although these are goddess oracle cards, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a woman or you have to identify as female in order to listen to this reading and to enjoy it. I will try and make what I say as gender neutral and as accessible to everybody as I can going forward. I just want everybody to know that they are welcome on this channel, and although every single detail might not resonate with you, I'm sure that you can find something that does resonate within these readings. I would advise you to use your intuition to pick from one of the 4 piles. If you are finding that your intuition isn't working for you today, you can use a random number picker online in order to pick for you. Please be aware that this reading is intended for a collective audience and therefore not everything is going to resonate, and that is absolutely fine. Just because not every detail resonates with you, that doesn't mean that it's not your pile. It could still very well be your pile, so you can stay and listen and see if there's anything in the reading that is helpful to you and your life. If you are finding that everything feels wrong and that you are sensing this is not your pile, please feel free to go back and choose a different pile. If you are finding that none of the piles resonate for you in this current moment, that is also absolutely fine. There are plenty of other readings and readers out there for you. It's okay if I'm not resonating with you right now. I set the intention that these readings will be timeless, so you can always come back to this reading at a different stage in your life when you feel like it might be resonating more. Again, that is more than okay. You are welcome back anytime. Oh, also, I just wanted to say that, I am still learning and growing as a creator. And, as I put in my description and my little bio thing on YouTube, I've never really done anything like this before. This is only my 3rd time, so please be gentle with any comments. But I did just want to apologise for the fact that on some of my readings, I know the camera is quite wobbly. Unfortunately, there's not much I can do about it at the moment, because the desk that I work at, the desk that I have to work at, is on wheels, which is very good. Like, it makes it portable so I can kind of put it anywhere I want, but it also makes it quite wobbly. So that is why when I kind of touch the table, which I like to do because I'm a very sort of hands-on person, I talk a lot with my hands, as I'm sure you can probably see. So I like to do that, but unfortunately it does make things wobble a little bit. So again, I am apologetic if that bothers anyone, and I hope it doesn't stop you from wanting to watch or listen to the reading. I know a lot of people just kind of put these readings on in the background and they go off and they do other things and they just sort of listen to it. So I'm hoping for that reason that, it won't necessarily bother people too much. But yeah, just know that I am aware of it. But until I'm able to upgrade, like in terms of space or equipment, there's not much I can do about it at this stage. But I will look into changing that going forward when I'm able to. So once we've done the oracle check, we are then going to check the energy further with the astro dice. And then we are going to move on to the tarot portion of the reading. And the tarot portion of the reading will still be regarding why people find you attractive, why you are attractive AF, but it will also focus a little bit more on your current energy at the moment and what is specifically attractive about you during this time, whatever time you are watching the reading. Okay, so in terms of the piles, this is pile 1 with the red crystal heart. It's a kind of a reddy maroon colour, so red/maroon crystal heart, pile 1. This is pile 2 with the white crystal heart, pile 2, and the white crystal heart. This is pile 3 with the clear crystal heart, although it looks a little bit purpley maybe to you because it's on a purpley background, but this is pile 3 and the clear crystal heart. This is pile 4 and the tortoiseshell crystal heart. Okay, so once you have picked your pile, please feel free to go to the timestamps below. I will put them in the description and in the comments for your convenience. Go ahead and skip to where your oracle reading starts. Please let me know if anything at all resonates with you. Without further hesitation, let's get into your reading. See you in your reading. Hi Pile 1, welcome to your reading. If you chose this red/maroon crystal heart, this will be your reading. So we are going to get straight into it by looking at this one oracle card. This oracle card will be of a Greek goddess, and that will represent your energy. That archetype will sort of represent how you are attractive, how you are magnetic, how you are compelling, how you are seductive, all of those things. So we're going to have a little look into that. Anyway, without further hesitation, let's have a look into your oracle card. So let's see what we've got. We have got Hemera, and this card says, let the warmth wash over you, new dawn breaks. It's time to raise your vibration and leave the dark behind. So I'm not going to lie, whilst I do have a level of interest in ancient Greece and the lore surrounding the gods and goddesses, I'm not the most knowledgeable person when it comes to that. However, I feel like I don't need to be in order to do this reading. So with you, Pile 1, I am getting that people find you attractive AF because, and I am getting this phrase very strongly, you are literally glowing. And it could be about your physical appearance, it could be regarding your skincare routine. Maybe you have nailed that sort of glass skin look that everybody wants to achieve. Maybe you are really consistent with your skincare routine and you look literally glowing. People have complimented you on your skin before, how radiant it looks. It could also be that people find you very attractive because of your enthusiasm, because of the way that your eyes light up when you talk about something you care about. You could have a broad, beaming smile. People could really fall in love with your smile and just that glow that it radiates and that warmth. And with warmth, I'm getting that people could be attracted to you because you are a very warm, welcoming, and inviting person. I feel as though you know how to speak to people, you know how to give people a compliment, you know how to make them feel loved and invited and welcomed. Hemera, I think, is associated with daylight. She's associated with being like a goddess of the dawn. I feel like people are so drawn in and captivated by you because of your bright light, because of this energy, this enthusiasm, and this kind of sunny disposition that you radiate. You draw people towards you. People want to be nearer to you because you have this very kind of enthusiastic or excited or sunny attitude in some way, and you just know how to make people feel so good. I mean, the daylight thing just keeps reminding me of the sun, and the sun always reminds me of Leo energy. I feel like you not only embody Leo energy, that kind of main character, confidence, sort of vibe, but also you know how to make or encourage other people to embody that. So, for example, you know how to make people feel important. Let's just say you work in a customer service role, even if it's maybe something you don't want to do for the rest of your life and you don't see that role as being like unique or special in any way, what you bring to that role is special. People really appreciate being nearer to you. They feel warm in your presence. They feel something about the way you talk to people. You make people feel important. You are attractive because people perceive you as an important person, regardless of what your role is. But the way you make other people feel, you make them feel as though they are equally important. when they communicate with you, they feel like they are really being listened to, like you are really giving them the time of day. You are spreading this brightness across their life via that interaction. And it just makes people gravitate towards you even more, because some people are thinking, how can someone this abundant, this important, this attractive give me the time of day like this? You put enthusiasm and energy towards other people, and they really admire you for that. They are quite awestruck, quite taken aback by your light, by the light and positivity that you are spreading. People find you attractive because you really know how to include them in conversations. You don't have to be extroverted. Obviously, with all the talk of like Leo and the sun, it does make me think of somebody more extroverted, but you don't necessarily have to be. It could just be that even if you don't necessarily like talking to large groups of people, that you are good at it. You are very attractive when it comes to schmoozing. I don't know if that's the right word, but you are just very charismatic. You can be a bit of a social chameleon. That is very much something that I'm getting. If you have a partner or a significant other, you're the type of person who they love to take to social events because they know that you can deal with it very well. Even if you don't necessarily enjoy huge social events, they know that you can talk to anyone, and they're very proud to sort of show you off in a way, because you just light up the room. You know how to make people laugh, to have a good time, and just generally to get involved. And that is why people find you so attractive and why you are very magnetic. Also, the fact she is naked, it's kind of making me think of somebody who is in some ways a little bit innocent and vulnerable. And that aspect of you is something that makes you very, very attractive to people. I think people find you attractive because you might be a what you see is what you get type person. Like everything that you are presenting yourself as is what you are, and people really appreciate that honesty, that vulnerability, that ability of yours to be your authentic self. People find that very attractive. They appreciate that you're not being fake, that you're not trying to show up in a way that isn't really you. Even if you know you aren't that extroverted and you don't necessarily like socializing, it's not that you're being fake when you do socialize, it's just that you can access that other part of yourself. And you might be quite honest about the fact that you don't enjoy socializing if that is the case. Like, you could make a joke with a group of people about how this type of thing, like this party or gathering or whatever, isn't really your thing. And then your authenticity, your sort of sense of humor, your joke about that makes people like, yeah, same here. Like, I relate to that. And like, this person's really funny. Like, he or she has just said something that we can really relate to. And I appreciate that she's been honest about the fact she doesn't like social events. Like, to be honest, neither do I. I don't know why I'm here either. It could just be that people really relate to you and you create a safe space to try to sort of make those jokes and to be more authentic. But overall, I just feel as though you are very much the main character. You have a lot of confidence, even if you don't necessarily feel that way. People are attracted to you because of your confidence, because of the way you light up a room. Because something about you is so glowing and radiant. Even with these sort of, it's almost like she's got highlighter, like these high points on her face are sort of lit up. And again, that makes me think of like the skincare thing and people potentially complimenting you on your skin. If you have a consistent routine, or, people wanting you to put them on to like the highlighter that you're wearing or something like that. And I feel like you are a very giving person. People are very attracted to you because you are giving, because you wouldn't keep that information to yourself. If somebody wanted to know, where is your outfit from, or what highlighter are you wearing if you wear makeup, you put them onto it basically. You would be like, oh my God, like I'll find you the link. Hold on a sec. Like I'm going to pull that information up now. You aren't the type of person who's like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't want you to get the same thing as me. You are not afraid to boost other people around you because you know that there is enough abundance for everyone. You don't have to be stingy with your energy because there is enough light to go round. Just because somebody else shines doesn't mean you don't shine. You are very well aware of that, and you are very self-assured in that knowledge. That is why people gravitate towards you. And if you do identify as a woman, you could be a real girl's girl. You want to help and support other women. You want to compliment them. You are this source of light and source of giving energy. You are the girl in the girls' bathroom at a club who would go up to another girl and tell them that their makeup or their hair looks amazing or their outfit looks amazing. You are so not afraid to give a compliment, and people love you for that. People really admire that, and they are so attracted to it because they know that you are so self-assured, you are so confident in your own self that you don't need to put other people down, you don't need to be insecure, you don't need to be intimidated by other women. If you are a woman, you are fully there and ready to compliment and support other women, if anything. And people are very well aware that that is boss energy and that you never work from a place, you never operate from a place of insecurity or of lack. And people find you very attractive because I feel as though you lift the positive energy of the room. I feel as though your sense of humour is really something that people are attracted to. They like to have you at social events because you are funny, because you can sort of share those jokes, you can have a good banter, good conversation, and I just think people really enjoy being around you. You are an extremely warm, welcoming presence to be around. Okay, so that is what I'm getting with this card pile one. We're just going to give you a little bit more confirmation by rolling the astro dice. So we will do that now. Pile one, energy check. Pile one. Ah, it fell. Okay, I think we got... Okay, I'll do that one first because it fell onto me, but I'm pretty sure that we got Mars. We got Mars. So Mars is typically ruled by Aries, and Aries is associated with the first house, the house of self. And I feel like this really represents your sort of confident and self-assured nature. Mars can be quite direct, it can be quite go-getting and ambitious, and I feel as though Mars isn't a planet that would shy away from doing anything. It can be quite driven, and I feel like that really encompasses you because, again, like you don't shy away from offering your enthusiasm to other people. It is giving me fire sign energy. A lot of this reading is giving me fire sign energy, especially with the colours of the cards, the kind of yellowy, the warmth. That is reminding me of like fire sign vibes. Again, you don't have to be, but if fire is a prominent element in your chart, that could just be a little bit of extra confirmation. Again, with the fire sign energy, we have the 5th house. We have the 5th house. And that is a Leo house. So, you know, we were just talking about Leo, about main character energy. I think you definitely have an aspect of that main character energy, even if you don't necessarily feel that way, or you're not going out of your way to be noticed, to sort of light up a room in that sense. People definitely notice you and are attracted to you, and it might incite a little bit of jealousy from other people. But again, you have so much self-assuredness. Your power, and I will talk about this in a minute because we also got Scorpio, but your power is knowing that you have a lot to offer. You are all this and a bag of chips, essentially, if you want to word it that way. But that doesn't mean that you are better than other people, and it doesn't mean that other people can't shine, and you don't need to try and dim anybody's light because you know that you are it. You are radiating all of that, and other people can radiate too. You are very much in support of that. And with this 5th house and it being a Leo house, I feel as though people are very much attracted to you because of your pride. And that sounds weird, but you might take a lot of pride in your physical appearance. In your physical appearance, you might put a lot of effort into your appearance or your skincare routine or something like that, and people really notice this. Or even if it's not in a physical way, I very much get the sense that you are somebody who doesn't let other people get you down. You don't ever show that other people's negative perceptions of you are affecting you. And people find that really attractive. People find it attractive that you don't let other people's negativity influence you in any way. You're going to do what you want to do, and it doesn't matter what anybody says. You know that if you're not harming anybody and you're just enjoying yourself, you're going to wear what you want, do what you want. You're not really bothered if people make a negative comment about it. And if you are, you certainly don't, it doesn't show that way on the surface. You also have a lot of creative energy. With this 5th house, you could be very much a creative person. You could have a business creating something, or, you know, something that you have on social media and you promote. And if that is the case, people are very attracted to that creative side of you. They think that you have a lot to offer. They think you are very gifted in a creative sense, and that just makes you more magnetic. And really, I mean, we can't talk about magnetism without talking about Scorpio. So you got Scorpio. You are attractive in the way that you can acknowledge that humanity has dark sides, and you can very much delve into deeper topics and, you know, explore that side of things. However, you do not let the bad things happening around you or with other people or just within the world affect you to the extent that it pushes people away. If anything, it just makes people gravitate towards you, because you might have this deeper knowledge with the Scorpio, and you might sense that, you know, there are negative things, and it's not that it doesn't warrant a discussion. It's just that, you know, you're not going to let it get you down. You're going to continue to stand in your power. And regardless of what's going on around you, something very attractive about you is that you can access that power. And, you know, one of your great powers is lifting people up and not putting them down. And your energy can be quite transformative in that way. So pile 1, that is what I've got for you in terms of the energy check. We are now going to move into the tarot portion of your reading, so I'll see you there. Hi pile 1, welcome to the tarot portion of your reading. Let's get straight into it and have a look at which tarot cards you have. So without further hesitation, let's have a look. We've got the 5 of Wands. We've got the 10 of Wands. We've got the 2 of Swords. We've got the Page of Wands. So much wand energy. Are we surprised? I am not surprised. We have got the 2 of Pentacles reversed. We've got the Page of Pentacles. Okay, a little bit of Pentacles energy as well. We've got the World. The World. And we've got the Queen of Wands. Okay, so pile 1, the first thing that I'm noticing is, it goes without saying, we do have a lot of fiery energy here. So fire sign energy could be significant to you. You could be predominantly a fire sign or an earth sign, because we do have quite a bit of pentacles as well. However, there is definitely a lot of Wands energy, so Leo, Sagittarius, Aries, and obviously we got that Mars as well when we rolled your astro dice. So that reminds me of somebody quite fiery. Even if you don't resonate with being a fire sign, I feel as though your fiery energy, the Wands energy that you embody, regardless of which sign you are, that is something that makes you highly, highly attractive. With this 5 of Wands, it sounds very strange, but I even feel some people could be attracted to you when you are arguing. Some people could find it hot when you argue with them, when you put them in your place, when you assert yourself. Maybe asserting yourself wasn't something you always felt good at. Maybe you didn't necessarily always think that you could embody this Wands energy, but it is something that when people hear you talk, it could just be when you are talking in a passionate way, people are very attracted to that. Because I think that the majority of the time you are a person who ideally you do gravitate towards keeping the peace. You are not going into any circumstance looking for an argument or looking for a conflict, But if a conflict does happen, you do know how to stick up for yourself and to shut it down, and people find that very attractive. You could be somebody who sort of gets involved and sticks up for other people, and they could really appreciate that. They could really admire you for that. It could also be interpreted that you cause conflict just by being you and just by being attractive and being that person who people naturally gravitate towards. Again, I keep being drawn to these ladies arguing on this Five of Wands card, and it's just making me think that you are somebody who potentially causes conflict without even trying. And for some reason, I wanted to say between couples. So it could be because of your naturally warm and welcoming energy, the fact that you can get along with most people or crack a joke with most people, the fact that people find you funny, the fact that people are drawn towards you, that people feel brighter in your presence and they therefore want to communicate with you more. That could cause friction in other people's relationships. There could be some degree of jealousy. It could be that people interpret your warmth and friendliness as trying to seduce their partner or something in some way, when that might not be the case at all. And this isn't gender specific, but again, it might not be the case at all. It could just be that that person is drawn towards talking to you because you create such a warm and loving environment for them to communicate. It's not that you would ever want to go after anyone's partner. It's just that people see competition in you when perhaps it isn't there, because they see that you have so much to offer, you are so abundant, you are attractive, that people naturally are drawn to you and gravitate towards you. And that makes them envious. It makes people who aren't embodying that energy feel insecure. It makes them feel a sense of competition when really on your end, you might not even think about this person. You might not even know that they exist, but they, could potentially stalk your social media. They could be looking at pictures at you and you have no idea. You're just there like, yeah, like I'm still attractive. I'm still pretty. Like, stop checking up on me. And this person does. They feel like anytime you post a picture, it's somehow like a personal affront to them, because you are out there looking so good and they almost want to cover their significant other's eyes so that they are not drawn to you, that they are not looking at you. This person wants to have control over the situation and they almost feel angry at you for just being attractive and for posting nice pictures or something like that. And they get annoyed over the mere fact that you have posted a nice picture of yourself just for being attractive. Because they don't want anyone to see that, because they feel so lacking in terms of what they have to offer, that they are unnecessarily sort of mentally taking that out on you, even though you might not know about any of these feelings. They might not be open about it. You provoke a lot of jealousy in people and insecurity. You sort of shine a light on what they might be lacking. It's like you get people all fired up for no particular reason, just by being you. You're not trying to elicit a reaction from anyone. You're not trying to get attention in any way. You're literally just being positive and being that enthusiastic person and shining your light. And for sometimes when people are lacking, they don't like that, and it might cause them to be a little bit off with you or just not very nice. They don't have a nice energy towards you. It could be that you are currently in conflict with somebody at the moment due to this sense of jealousy, and it doesn't necessarily have to be over a significant other. If that doesn't, it could just be a breakdown in the friendship that is due to jealousy in some way. So whatever energy you radiate, maybe you have a friend in your life who feels very envious of that. They feel as though they can't embody that, and it's almost like they put you down because they want you to stop shining in whatever way and for you to stop getting attention, which is never going to happen. It doesn't have to be in a romantic sense. It could just be that for some reason this person feels so much lack that they just don't want to see you living your best life. So if you are sort of going through a kind of glow up era and you're sticking to a really consistent skincare routine or a workout routine or something like that, it could be that you have a person in your life who sort of feels this sense of unspoken competition when they're around you, and maybe they don't want you to succeed in that way. So they could be somebody who, like, when you go and visit their house, you have a few drinks together and you know, they're encouraging you to have more and more drinks. And you might not realize, but could be because they don't want you to stick to that workout routine. They know that if you have a hangover, you might not want to do your workout routine, continue with that. Or, you know, if you end up passing out or something from drinking late in the night, you probably won't continue to adhere to your skincare routine. They know that you'll probably forget about it and that you'll go off track. Like, they just don't like you being happy and in your best self. I don't know why that is coming through so strongly. There is something about conflict here, but if it's not a current conflict like that, it could just be that, you know, you've experienced situations in the past where you feel as though somebody is being off with you when you haven't been nothing but nice and sunshiny with them. You have been warm and welcoming, but they just don't want anything to do with you, or they are just unnecessarily rude to you for no reason, and you're like, what have I done? You've kind of had a little bit of self-doubt, thinking, why are they acting this way with me? Well, I'm here to tell you that it basically all comes from jealousy. It comes from this sense of competition, and you're not even in competition with this person or, you know, whoever you've dealt with in the past. You are very much in your own lane. You're focused on you and improving your growth and helping other people improve in their growth as well. You're not thinking about competition in any way. I don't know why I felt the need to go off on a huge tangent about that for all that time, but let's get into some of the other cards now. It's just that that one in particular was calling to me. I couldn't help but mention this sense of conflict. But with this 10 of Wands and the 2 of Swords, it makes me feel as though you haven't always been somebody who has necessarily asserted yourself like you do now. Perhaps you are becoming more assertive, but potentially there was a time in your life where maybe you were more concerned with keeping the peace, because again, I think you are quite a peaceful person. I think you're not going out to look for a conflict, you're not going out to look for arguments in any particular way, but sometimes because of, you know, this conflict that you might have had with people due to the fact that you are so abundant and attractive and people are jealous, due to that you could have ended up in situations where people are pressurizing you to get into a sort of conflict with them in a way, or you could have had like two friends who were fighting and you were kind of caught between it. You were in a bit of this stalemate and people were putting a lot of pressure on you to sort of pick a side, and perhaps you were unwilling to do this because you were in a state of indecision. You didn't know what the right thing to do was. Perhaps you were made to feel as though you couldn't make a decision in some way, or that decision was being taken away from you. And you know, the 10 of Wands can sometimes refer to somebody feeling overburdened, feeling stressed, feeling like they're bearing the brunt of too much responsibility. And this could be the case. People, because they see how warm you are, how sunny, how inviting, because they see that you never let people or situations get you down and you present a sort of I am in control of things vibe, you present a sort of optimistic vibe to the outside world. I feel like although that makes you very, very attractive, it also makes people feel as though they can put a lot on you, because you can tolerate it, you can sort of put up with it, you can bear the brunt of this work that they put on you in whatever way. But I feel as though perhaps a conflict you have gone through in the not so distant past has made you step back and evaluate and really assert yourself and forefront your ideas and what you have to say, basically. And I feel as though this has only made you more attractive, it has only made you more glowing, and people gravitate towards you even more. Like, perhaps there was a point where people thought they could, you know, say things to you and get away with it because you are a nice person and you wanted to keep the peace, you're a kind person, and you didn't want to start a conflict. But perhaps there has come a point where you have asserted yourself, whether it be in a friendship, in a relationship, or with a family member. If somebody was being toxic, maybe you put them in their place, and this made you more attractive. This made people recognize that you won't be put down in any way, that you do have opinions, that you can be fearless, because the Page of Wands, you know, the archetype of that is somebody who is fearless. It's somebody who isn't afraid to share their ideas and go on a new adventure. I also feel like you are very attractive because you are adventurous and you're not afraid to do things a little bit differently. This could be literally adventurous in terms of you like to travel or you like to experiment with different foods or something like that, or you would do something on a whim. You would be the type of person to say, let's get a piercing today, or something like that, and you would just go and do it. You are very adventurous in the way that you approach the world, and people are very attracted to that. But yeah, basically, not only that, you are a lot more fearless than people maybe initially anticipate. And I think because you can be this social chameleon and you try to sort of get along with everybody, and you might say relatable things to people when communicating, people might feel as though, oh, like this person is so relatable. And unfortunately, the wrong kinds of people might interpret that as like, oh, because you are quite humble in that relatable sense, that they can sort of push you and say things that perhaps they wouldn't say to other people. But this Page of Wands comes out and it puts that person in their place. They realize they can't say things like that, but also it just makes you more attractive. The fact that you are willing to stick up for yourself and like potentially stick up for other people as well, to try and settle conflicts. That's what I feel like. I feel you are very good at settling conflicts and lightening the tone, perhaps when your friends are having a disagreement or something like that. Perhaps your power is in the fact that you can lighten the mood and you can sort of crack a joke and make everybody kind of forget that they were arguing, something like that. So yeah, people are very attracted to the fact that you can advocate for yourself and stick up for yourself, the fact that you have a lot of exciting ideas as well that you can share with the world. That could come back to the creativity that we mentioned, like when we rolled your astro dice. Okay, pal one, I'm about to call you out. I'm going to be honest, because with this Two of Pentacles, I am getting like a little bit of a unorganized, chaotic energy from you. But the thing is people find it attractive. People find it attractive and relatable how chaotic you can be. Perhaps you are somebody who is always running late, or you always have like 5,000 things to do, and you have to try and plan your time accordingly, but perhaps it is quite difficult to plan for some of the things that go on in your life. Perhaps you have a very sort of active work life, and then like a very active social or extracurricular life in terms of your hobbies and things like that, and it means that you try and cram everything in, and it can be hard to remember everything you need to do on a day-to-day basis. So you just have a little bit of a chaotic energy surrounding you, but it's something that people find actually very endearing, and people are very drawn to that, and I think they often see themselves in that. However, I will say, in the sort of recent energy that you're embodying, you are stepping more into this more balanced energy of like Page of Pentacles. So that could be, perhaps there was one stage where you poured all your energy into like several different things and you went from one thing to another. And the thing that's attractive about you is your passion towards all those new ideas, towards those forms of creative expression that you might participate in. However, it feels as though at one point maybe you were doing too much, and again with the Ten of Wands, maybe you found it difficult to balance all these things. Maybe your life, you felt as though at one point it was spiraling out of control and you needed to approach things more diligently and more methodically in many ways. You are approaching things in a more goal orientated and strategic kind of way. So it's not that you have lost any of this Wands energy, and we'll go on to that in a second, because you've got the Queen of Wands as your last card, so you're definitely not losing any of this fiery energy, but you might be channeling it into a more grounded sort of way. So you could be approaching things with like better time management, and you could be really like sticking to the things you want to do, being more goal orientated. Again, we got that Mars energy with the Oracle, with the Astro Dice portion of the reading. So this could refer to that, how like you are channeling your fiery wands energy into being more earthy and using the elements of earth and fire to propel you forward, in that you can approach things with passion but also with balance, and this in turn just makes you more magnetic, more powerful and attractive. Okay, so with this World card as well, again, that just symbolizes your energy, that you are the literal whole package. That is who you are kind of becoming at this moment in time. Perhaps it's just something that's come with emotional maturity. Perhaps you have reached the point of like your brain being fully developed if you're in your mid-20s or something like that. and you are finding a way to channel all this chaos into something more balanced. And again, you are just the full package. And also, you realize that there is enough abundance in the world to go round for everyone. So, you are very attractive in the sense that you're never going to put people down. You know that you have the world in your hands and that the world is yours. But for someone else, you know their world is theirs as well. You are attractive due to the fact that you can now be in this more dependable energy and therefore follow things through to completion. Perhaps that was something you struggled with in the past, but you are feeling way more self assured with this Queen of Wands now that you have perhaps more of this sense of balance and you can approach the world in that sort of goal orientated strategic way. You are also very, very attractive in that, again, not only do you feel like the whole package, but you make people feel this sense of belonging. People feel as though it is also an achievement to be with you. They feel like you are everything that they've been waiting for, like you are literally it, the world. If anyone gets to date you or be your friend or just be in your life, they see it as an achievement. They see it as a success just to have you around them and in their life. People are attracted to you because they can sense that you are a very whole person. You have that beautiful balance of being confident without being overconfident, with being extroverted, but also having an introverted side. It's about the duality, but also about the harmony, the balance of everything, and how all these different aspects of you all work together and they create this wonderful whole person, and who people really feel a sense of belonging with. Again, I feel because you embody so much of that welcoming energy, I feel as though people really do find that sense of belonging with you, and that is something that makes you even more attractive. And with this Queen of Wands, you are just that self assured, confident, passionate queen, essentially like queen energy. And again, with the cards, like there's all these sunflowers surrounding her. She is just radiating this beautiful glowing energy that you also radiate. Your optimism and the way you approach the world so positively makes you incredibly attractive. Also, the fact, like, I feel as though you have the gift of the gab, like, you are very charismatic. Again, you know how to make people feel good. You know how to tell people the things that they want to hear, but not in a fake way. You are quite upfront about it. I feel as though you are quite honest and authentic, and people are really attracted to that. I know sometimes like the word vivacious can also be associated with the Queen of Wands, and for some reason when I thought that, it made me think that there could be something distinctive about just your like voice or the way you laugh or something like that. It could be that you have a very contagious laugh and people find this really attractive, and it just makes people like, somebody could be on the other side of the room, but if they hear your laugh, they want to gravitate towards you and they want to find out like, oh, what is pile one talking about? Like, I want to be involved in that conversation. It sounds like so much fun. People are just naturally drawn to you. They want to sit with you. They want to have a good time with you. And yeah, so that is just the energy that you are embodying. A lot of fiery energy, pile one. You are very much a Queen of Wands person. So that is it for the tarot portion of your reading. We are now just going to finish up this reading with a little message from the Sacred Self-Care Oracle. So I will just get that for you. I will shuffle that oracle and then we will have a look at what you've got. Pile one, please. Oh, it flew out. Oh my goodness. Beauty ritual. What were we saying about the skincare, pile one? So I feel like with this balance you've found in recent months, let's say, or just recently generally, I think with this balance you've found, I feel as though this balance allows you to dedicate more time to yourself and the rituals and routines that make you feel really good and make you feel as though you can further embody this assertive Queen of Wands energy, which perhaps you might have struggled with a little bit in the past. And you know, beauty rituals don't necessarily have to be to do with how we look. It is also very much about how we might feel on the inside. And it's really about doing whatever makes you feel good. So if that is following a skincare routine or just feeling as though you're stepping into your power by doing your makeup every day to sort of distinguish between the version of you that you are, say, at home and the version you have to be when you go out to work or something like that. It's just about doing whatever makes you feel confident and good about yourself in that way so that you can be in that one's energy and also just have the balance in terms of dedicating time to yourself. So it could be that you have a skincare routine or a makeup routine, or you like dedicating some time to take out and spend doing your nails. There could have been a time when you were quite overgiving with your energy and you didn't have time to do XYZ in terms of a beauty ritual because you were so busy doing other things. But it's like now you understand the importance of dedicating that time to yourself and like just sticking to a routine, a ritual, and following through on the things that make you feel good and that put you in that optimistic, positive energy. So you are able to also spread that to other people as well as yourself. It could be skincare, it could be just shaving your legs, it could be painting your nails, it could be oiling your hair, it could be styling your hair or doing your makeup. Anything that makes you feel good is something that you should be investing in, because whatever puts you in that positive and optimistic queen of wands energy, it is only serving your higher good. If it's making you feel more attractive, then it's definitely worthwhile doing, because if you feel you are attractive, you are also radiating that energy outwards and you are very much attracted to the world, which will come with more and more opportunities gravitating towards you. So don't forget to perform some self-care and engage with beauty rituals if that is what is calling you. But that is what I have for you, pile one. Thank you so much for listening to this reading. If anything resonated, please comment below, please like the video, and please subscribe. I am very grateful for any help you are willing to give me with this channel. But yeah, I hope you had fun and I hope you enjoyed this. Take care, pile one. I'll see you in the next one. Hi, pile two collective. Welcome to your reading. If you picked the white crystal heart, this will be your reading. So without hesitation, let's just get into it. We will be starting off with one oracle card, and this will represent the overall energy that you're embodying. This will be a kind of archetype. All the oracle cards and tarot cards will be in the description below, by the way. Then we will just confirm the energy with a roll of the astro dice. We will talk a little bit about your vibe overall, what archetype you are embodying, and then we will go on to the tarot portion of your reading, which will be a little bit more about your current energy, sort of what's going on more recently, how are you attractive to people, how are you standing out, how are you magnetic in your current energy, and then we will finish up the reading with a little bit of advice from the Sacred Self-Care Oracle. So yeah, without further hesitation, let's have a look at what you've got. Okay, pal two. So you got Aphrodite. It says, I welcome love. I am deserving of self-love. I allow myself to feel love for myself. I am the embodiment of my own beautiful. And in case you missed the introduction, some of the ladies on these beautiful cards are naked. That's why I've had to cover up the boob area with a little bit of washi tape. If you're wondering what that is, I've had to do that. So yeah, that's why it is a little bit censored. But okay, firstly, pile two, with this Aphrodite card, I kind of want to ask why you are even here, because you are you know full well that you are the baddest person in whichever room you are in. I am being fully honest. You literally got Aphrodite. That is the goddess of beauty. So you know that you are incredibly attractive. And if you don't know that you are attractive, well, you definitely should, because you are the embodiment of beauty, love, feminine energy, if you identify that way. If not, no worries. I believe everyone can have that balance of masculine and feminine, but this Aphrodite, I associate it with the feminine. It's giving me like very Libra and Taurus energy. I am called to say that you are very physically attractive. You are honestly somebody who is gorgeous inside and out, but I am called to say that people do find you stunning in terms of how you look. People are very attracted to you physically. And I don't think that it's down to one particular physical attribute, even if you feel as though you are somebody who might not necessarily be like stereotypically good looking, or that there is something unconventional about your appearance. People still find it incredibly seductive, incredibly sensual. People are still very much drawn to you in that way, because beauty can come in many forms. Beauty isn't one specific gender, it's not one specific skin or hair or eye colour, it's not one specific way of dressing, it's not one specific height or body weight or anything like that. It's like people are attracted to you physically on the outside because your attractiveness radiates from within, this sort of beautiful, sensuous, feminine energy. People are attracted to you because there is something very soft about you. If you do identify as female, you could be in like your soft girl era, where you are really focusing on stepping into more of that feminine energy and leveling up in terms of like self-care, and really taking time to slow down and realize that life isn't all about work, and you know, you can enjoy like very feminine hobbies, and maybe you feeling really powerful when you engage with those feminine hobbies. You are attractive because there is something very inherently delicate and sensitive and gentle about you. Even if you're not necessarily physically, you know, somebody who could necessarily be deemed soft. I mean, you could be. It could be that you are literally, if you are a female, you could be quite curvy, quite voluptuous. You could have big boobs basically, or a big bum, or like a significant difference between like your waist and your hips and your boobs, something like that. However, that doesn't have to be the case, but there is something inherently, or like, should I say, internally soft about your nature that people really find attractive and gravitate towards. It could be that you are gentle in the way you approach other people or animals or something like that. And that could be maybe if you are physically like a little bit more intimidating, or you're taller or larger in some way, perhaps it could be jarring and that people don't expect that gentle side of you, but when they discover it, they're incredibly attracted to you. They're all the more attracted to you for having that side and for letting it be exposed in a world that, you know, can sometimes be quite harsh. You don't let the harshness of the world stop you from exposing that little bit of softness. And it's not that I think you are approaching people and necessarily like exposing all of yourself and like telling them your life story the moment you've met them or anything like that. It could just be that you have these soft little parts of you that when people get to know, they really find so attractive and incredibly endearing and just really cute. Like, I don't know why I want to say cute, because I feel like that is such a bland word to describe actually how beautiful you are, both externally and internally. But you could be the type of person who tears up quite easily at like TV shows or films or something like that, not necessarily in your everyday life. Or it could be that you're dating somebody and you're watching like a film at their house or something, and you're sat in the dark, and you could be somebody who tears up quite easily at sort of emotional films and TV shows, and maybe like you cry a little bit, and instead of being like freaked out or anything, people are so endeared by the fact that you are so in touch with your emotions. People find that really attractive. And your date just thinks that is so adorable, like they think that it is really cute, especially if you are not the type of person who might appear that way on the surface. Like, perhaps when you first meet somebody, like when you haven't got to know them yet, perhaps you don't expose too much of yourself like that, but maybe it comes out in these small moments, and it's these small soft moments that really capture people's attention and make them feel so attracted to you, and that make you incredible. Like, your vulnerability is really a strength. That is what I am getting, that, you know, your vulnerability only works to make you more attractive and to make more people drawn towards you, and it's actually very much something that can be used as a power. And whatever way you look externally with this card, I'm feeling as though you are very much somebody who takes care of themselves. You understand the importance of, you know, potentially having like a workout routine, and you know that let's use the example of working out, because it's not something that's easy, especially if you are not naturally a sort of sporty or athletic person. Working out can feel like a chore, but I feel as though you are attractive in that you get the message across that working out doesn't have to be a chore. You work out because you love yourself, and that is something you deserve to work out. You deserve to prioritize your body and its movement, and you're not going to force yourself to do a workout that feels difficult just for the sake of maintaining a certain size or for the sake of a physical appearance. You are going to commit to something that genuinely feels good and allows you to show that love for yourself in a physical way, is what I'm getting. And maybe if you are at this pile and you know you are doubtful that you are attractive, even if you don't think like from an external perspective that you are attractive, I feel as though the only reason you might potentially think that is because people maybe often don't tell you how pretty, how beautiful, how stunning you are, because they assume that you already know that, because it's quite hard to avoid. People look at you and it's very much on the surface that, you know, you are a very attractive human being. There is no escaping it. So people just assume that you already know that. They're like, Pal 2 has a mirror. Like, they look into the mirror every day. They know that they're attractive. And it kind of maybe makes some people shy away from giving you a compliment or telling you that you look beautiful on a particular day, and maybe you've been doubtful of that in the past, like if you have dealt with like insecurities or any like body image issues or something like that, it could be that you have been doubtful. But can I assure you that the only reason that people aren't saying it is because they think you already know. And I feel like the ways you treat yourself, the ways you operate from a place of self-love, makes people even more attracted to you, because they know that you deserve to be treated with love and respect, and you won't allow people to treat you with any less than what you deserve. And I feel like sometimes that can make people quite intimidated by you, and sometimes it might put people off approaching you in like a romantic sense, a dating sense. And I know that sounds like such a cliche, like, oh, people are just intimidated. But with you, I definitely feel as though that could be the case. People aren't going to mess around with you too much, especially in this current energy, because they know that you deserve the best, because you give yourself the best. So they're not going to approach you from, I mean, well, some people might try, because people are always going to try, and especially if you are so externally and internally beautiful, there are always going to be people who try and sort of warp that and make it into something negative, or they just want to treat you almost as though you're a trophy in some kind of way. That can always happen. However, I feel like there are a lot of people who have kept their distance because they know that you aren't going to put up with less than you deserve, and it's made them sort of reflect. Like, they are people who they feel as though you know that you deserve the best and you're not going to settle for less. So sometimes that outright stops people approaching you, because they know that they can't offer you the best. And they know that you can only be approached in an energy where they are able to offer you the best, because that's what you give yourself, and that very much radiates from you, and it's what makes you attractive. But it's also what makes people know that they can't come at you in an energy of lack. I just feel as though people are attracted to you to the point where they want to like spoil you and give you princess treatment in some way, because they feel as though you are this literal pretty princess, and I just keep wanting to say the word pretty because you are, but it doesn't have to be in like a stereotypically physical way if that doesn't resonate for you. It could just be that the way you carry yourself, the way you behave, the energy you embody, it just makes people stop and think, oh, pretty. Like, that is what it's given. It could be the way you speak, your voice could be very soft and like comforting and just beautiful. You could be very like softly spoken. You could have a very pretty voice in whatever way, or like even a singing voice or something like that. It doesn't have to be. Or it could just be that you are capable of making things around you very aesthetically beautiful. Not only yourself, you could decorate yourself in the sense of what you wear in a way that really suits you and people find very, very attractive. Like, you know how to dress, you know how to do your makeup if you wear makeup, and take care of yourself in that sense. But also it could be like your house, or just you have a way of making everything around you beautiful, and that is very much what gets people to gravitate towards you and what makes you even more attractive. And it could be that you pour a lot of love into your family, your friend circle, your romantic partners. They feel very nurtured by you, and again, that is something that makes you really attractive as well. It could be that you pour a lot of love and you really nurture your creative projects. If it's not like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a person, so that could be something that resonates with you. You could put a lot of energy into creative endeavors and people could find that really attractive. Overall, pal 2, you are definitely a baddie, and if you are ever doubting that, please don't, because you are absolutely gorgeous, both externally and internally, and I think that very much radiates from you. So please don't ever doubt that. If you are doing, your soft and gentle and delicate nature is something that really is beautiful and that people really do find attractive. So that was your card, pile 2. Now we're just going to check the astro dice for a bit more confirmation of this energy, so please bear with me. Pile 2. Okay, pile 2, so we have Aquarius. We have Aquarius. We have the second house. We have the second house. And we have the North Node. We have the North Node, pile 2. So often the second house refers, well, it's a Taurus house, and it often refers to material assets. So this to me could indicate that a lot of this love that you have to offer could be poured into work, and potentially your sense of nurturing something at work. And a lot of the things that make you attractive could potentially be things that create work opportunities for you or that draw in some kind of material wealth. It could literally be that you are in, let's say, the beauty industry and you are extremely talented at doing makeup. We were speaking about a creative project, so perhaps your passion lies within beautifying others, making them feel good and confident, and it's something you're extremely skilled at. And perhaps that is going to attract a lot of material wealth because people know you are incredibly good at your work, and it's something that shines, it stands out about you, and it in turn makes you very attractive as a potential business owner of some kind. This might only resonate with one person, but it could be that you have an OnlyFans or you do cam work or something like that. Something about your attractiveness brings in material wealth, and it kind of goes back to that thing I was saying with, look, people just want to spoil you because they just want to be in your energy. People somehow want to reward you with material wealth just for being you and for doing what you are good at and for pouring love into something you're passionate about. It could just be that you have a lot of Taurus energy, and again, you know how to nurture yourself, you know how to enjoy the material pleasures, and that could actually make people really attracted to you. You could be like It could be that if you have a romantic partner, they watch you, like, I don't mean this to sound really weird, I don't mean in like a fetish kind of way, but they like to watch you eat because they see that you are really enjoying yourself and they find it attractive just getting to watch you enjoy your food. It doesn't have to be food, it could be like drink or just it could be drink, it could just be having a bubble bath or just engaging with a hobby that you enjoy. People find you your most attractive when you are enjoying yourself and engaging with those earthly pleasures and connecting with your senses in some way. It could be that you are quite a touchy feely person. Maybe your love language is physical touch and you like to be in connection with a partner, you like to be intimate with them quite frequently. Maybe that's something that's very important to you in a relationship, and people find that really attractive. They find it very attractive that you are not afraid to explore your pleasure in that way because Taurus can be very pleasure seeking. With this North Node, it makes me feel as though people will be most attracted to you when you are doing something to fulfill your destiny in some way, when you are following your life purpose. And if you don't necessarily know what that is yet, that's okay. You don't have to know. But by just doing things that you are passionate about and exploring your creative projects, and also I'm getting like beautifying things. So again, this could go back to like the idea of you being in the beauty industry in some way and, you know, making people feel good, really putting your skills into boosting people's confidence in that way. That could be something that really is in line with your life purpose and something that makes you feel confident. And again, you can pour your love into this. And you are most attractive when you are doing that, when you are doing everything that is in line with your life purpose and that is making you and other people around you feel good. It could even be making something around you aesthetically look nice. I'm thinking of the game like House Flipper, so I don't know why. So it could be to do with interior design or making a house better or more aesthetic in some way. It could even be in relation to cleaning. Perhaps you really pour your love into cleaning and making a house a nice, tidy space. This doesn't have to resonate, um, but perhaps you just have a unique way of cleaning and putting your love into making somewhere a tidy and pleasant space to be in and using your senses in order to make that beautiful. So making it smell nice, making it just be like a nice, calming environment to be in. And with this Aquarius energy as well, I feel like maybe you could be a little bit different underneath than what you present on the surface. Or potentially, if you are somebody who is quite conventionally attractive, and if you identify with your feminine energy, and if you are that more feminine person, if you are more aesthetically feminine, people might have a certain preconceived notion about you, and you might blast that preconceived notion right out of the water because actually you can be quite rebellious and you might be a lot more forward thinking than what people originally anticipate. So let's say that you are a woman and you present in a very feminine way and you have like long blonde hair and it's very well maintained and your makeup is always perfect, and you could encounter people who, for whatever reason, present you as a stereotype of being not as intelligent as you actually are. They could think that you are somebody who wants a very traditional lifestyle, like you. They might even, it could be something even like they assume you are heterosexual when maybe you are not because of how you present and it being quite femme. Just take that whatever way it resonates to you and your gender identity. That is just one example that's springing to my mind. People can make assumptions about you basically based on how you look and how you present, and they find out that, you know, you are actually more forward thinking than what they thought. You are maybe quite non-traditional. You have some views that don't conform to their preconceived notions of what you are like, and if anything, this for some reason makes them more attractive because they realize that you are this very multifaceted person. There is more to you than meets the eye. You are not only externally beautiful, but you are very forward thinking. You have a lot to offer, and a lot of things are yet to be discovered with you. You are more unconventional than what people think. You have that little bit of a weird or unorthodox side, and people just find this quite attractive. because you're not what they thought, basically. And that is their fault. If they place expectations or preconceived notions on you, I just want to clarify that that is very much their own projection based on usually stereotypes that are generally pretty incorrect. It doesn't necessarily even have to be in the sense of like romantic partners. Of course, that could apply. But I'm also getting like, have you ever had someone say to you something like, I didn't want to approach you at first because I thought you were going to be a bitch, or I thought you were going to be XYZ, I thought you were going to be a little bit stuck up or judgmental, something like that. And then, you know, that person has found out that actually you are incredibly kind, you are non-judgmental and quite humble. Nothing about how they perceived you is accurate in that way, but for whatever reason, they assumed, based on maybe like how good looking you actually are, that you're going to be a particular way, and you're not, and people are quite surprised by that. In whatever sense, I'm getting that people are surprised by you in some way, in a very pleasant way, a way that makes them even more attracted to you than what they originally were. That is what I am getting for you, pile 2. We are just going to move along and do your tarot reading now. So without hesitation, let's get into the tarot portion of the reading. Hi again, pile 2. Let's just get into the tarot portion of your reading. So we're going to have a look at what cards we've got. Start off with the Knight of Cups. You've got the 8 of Cups. You've got the Tower. You've got the 8 of Wands. You've got the 4 of Pentacles. You've got the Hermit. You've got the High Priestess, quite a bit of major arcana. And you've got the Queen of Cups. Beautiful. Okay, pile 2. So a really big message I'm getting from these cards, something that seems to be coming through very strongly, is that people are incredibly attracted to you. You are incredibly attractive, shall I say, because you are not what people expect you to be. You flip people's preconceived notions about you on their head. You have a capacity to shock people, and it doesn't put them off. If anything, it makes them want you more. It makes them even more attracted to you. I feel as though because of how you look, because people do find you incredibly attractive, even on a surface physical level, I feel as though sometimes that has unfortunately attracted the wrong kinds of people towards you. I'm getting the feeling of potentially F-boys or F-girls charging towards you in this overconfident, quite cocky energy and sort of bombarding you with it. You are maybe somebody who, when you go out, if you go out with your friends to clubs or anything like that, it feels as though you cannot just enjoy the night with your friends because you are constantly bombarded with this 8 of Wands energy, and it's from people who, I'm going to be honest, like in the current energy that they're in, they are not deserving of you, and you don't need to be giving them the time of day. And I think these people often know that they are punching above their weight in some way when they try and approach you and speak to you. But you know, when inebriations are down, like when people have had a little bit to drink, sometimes that can make them become overzealous, overconfident, and people just try their luck with you. They shoot their shot because they know, because they see you as a prize in some way. And I feel a little bit gross and objectifying saying that, but that is the thing that's coming through. It could be that sometimes people try and chat you up or flirt with you to see if they'll get anything back to impress their friends in some way, because you are so outwardly beautiful, outwardly gorgeous, that people feel as though it would be a big accomplishment in some way to even be able to talk to you for an extended period of time. And that is making me feel a little bit, like it's kind of giving me the ick that some people approach you that way, because internally you are also extremely beautiful, but unfortunately not everybody gets the chance to realize that, or when they do, they are shocked by the fact that you have all these internal gifts as well as being very physically gifted on the outside. It's just giving me a bit of the ick, and I'm feeling a little bit protective over you, pal two. I'm just getting a bit annoyed that people treat you this way just because of how you look. And you know, it can be nice sometimes to get attention, but when it is unwanted and when people are behaving sort of inappropriately towards you, or it's not done with very good intentions, which I feel maybe in the case, in some cases this has happened to you. You haven't necessarily wanted this attention, and people are approaching you, treating you as though you are some kind of conquest or like a prize to be won. I just don't like that attitude, because you are so much more than just somebody's trophy or like a prize in some way. You are so beautiful internally as well as externally, and unfortunately, people don't always get the chance to explore that. People don't always get the chance to find that out. But I feel as though that is very much their loss, and that's something that you need to understand. Is if you've been a person who's ever felt like used in some way for your looks, or for like a bit of arm candy in some kind of way, if you want to call it that, if that's something you feel as though you can relate to, it is due to their own lack and their own insecurity. If you felt abandoned ever at some point by somebody who, you know, you felt as though the connection, looking back on it was more superficial than what you wanted it to be, that they only saw you as this prize rather than a whole multifaceted person, it's because of their own lack and them not being able to feel as though they can provide this multifaceted person, which is you, with everything that you need. With this Queen of Cups energy in particular, pal two, I feel as though you are somebody who has always been very compassionate and can tap into that soft and nurturing and empathetic energy. And maybe sometimes people have tried to take that for granted, or they have not realized that you are also a very strong and powerful person with this High Priestess. They have not realized quite how intelligent you are, and that you are able to see things intuitively, feel things intuitively, and that you can rely on your more feminine nature. And because you can be very compassionate and very giving and tap into this sort of softer energy, I think some people have interpreted that, unfortunately, as weakness, which it is absolutely not, and we will go on to that. But I think maybe some people you have dealt with in the past have thought that because you present in a certain way, because you are aesthetically pleasing or conventionally attractive, or you're interested in wearing makeup or wearing your hair in feminine styles, or wearing like or you have a very feminine dress sense or something like that. It could be that, again, people have made assumptions about you based on that. Maybe some people have assumed by the way you dress that you are a certain way. So, for example, they might think that because you are so beautiful, you have never had to work hard, or perhaps you are not as intelligent as them, and they've tried to sort of undermine you in some way, and they've kind of made this superficial connection with you that's based on looks, and they don't realize quite what you have to offer. But with this Tower moment, it's making me realize that you have the tremendous capacity to shock people with just how intelligent you are, just how powerful you can be, that soft doesn't mean weak, that it's making me think that you are capable of shattering illusions, and this is something that actually makes you even more attractive. The fact that you can shock people and be something completely unexpected, completely different to what they thought you would be like. And with this Eight of Cups as well, I'm sensing that maybe like because of your looks or something like that, let's say a potential romantic interest has approached you, and because of your looks, they think that you are somebody who is superficial or who only cares about looks or who gets your value from your looks or something like that, which isn't the case, but maybe that's what they're thinking. And maybe they therefore think that they can manipulate you because they think this person isn't intelligent, they are not as intelligent as me, or they might think that if they insult you or insult your looks in some way, that you can be negged and that you will fall into bed with them and that they will be able to undermine your self-esteem and self-confidence to the point where you give in because you think you can't do any better than them, maybe something like that. And you just blow that right out of the water. If somebody mistreats you, I'm getting that you are now, or maybe at one point you weren't in this energy, but I'm getting that now you are in the energy where you will just literally pack up and walk away. You will abandon that entirely. Like people, I'm getting that they might try and play games with you. Like a potential romantic interest might try and play you like that and might try and sort of say, might try and test you to see what you are willing to put up with. And you're just turning around and saying like, well, I'm not putting up with anything. Like I'm literally just walking out of the door. I'm not having this behavior. And you just leave them in the dust and they are left wondering what they could do to get you back, which is nothing because although you might appear soft or like in soft girl energy on the surface, you are certainly not mentally or emotionally soft. You are actually very strong and you've built up a lot of resilience and you have a good intuition. And this might not be something that people realize at first, but once they do, not only are they very attracted to you, but the wrong people who have got on your bad side, who you've walked away from, they are regretting the fact that they will never have another chance with you. They essentially blew it and they know now that your standards are so high, and that makes them more attracted to you in the sense that you are now unattainable in some way. I mean, I'm getting that you might come across as unattainable in some way to a lot of people, regardless of their intentions. It could be that you have some genuinely good people interested in you and they do really value you and want to explore a connection with you further. But I feel like the good people are maybe intimidated by you because they might feel sort of in this Knight of Cups energy where they do have things to offer, but perhaps they are in the energy of being a little bit down on themselves or they are lacking in some kind of self-esteem, which makes them reluctant from stepping forward because they see you as above them in this Queen of Cups energy. Some people kind of put you on a pedestal in some way, and I feel like it's nothing to do with what you're doing. Like, if anything, you are coming across as an incredibly like nurturing and sensitive person with the High Priestess. I feel like you can intuit people's needs very well, and you know, it's not something that you're doing. You don't make anyone feel this way. It is the way they feel about themselves, and they are just kind of projecting onto you. But it could be that a lot of people find you so attractive that they think like, oh, Pal 2 is just too good for me. I can't level up. I can't match up to Pal 2 standards. Something like that. And with this Four of Pentacles, I'm getting that because of how attractive you are, people can become quite possessive of you and your time and your energy because they don't want anyone else to have access to it. And this could have led you to be in some situations that were less than desirable with romantic partners. It could be that you ended up in romantic relationships where your partner, everything that they found attractive about you in the beginning, like your dress sense and how like physically stunning you look, how everyone in the room turns to look at you because of how attractive you are, how people approach you. This could have been something that they sort of turned around on you and made you feel bad about, even though it wasn't anything necessarily that you were doing. You can't help if people are attracted to you. But you could have been with somebody who, you know, maybe tried stopping you posting pictures online where you looked nice, or maybe didn't want you going out when you were in a relationship with them because they know that you had so much to offer that people want, and people would just gravitate towards you, that instead of sort of trusting you, they became quite possessive of you, and that essentially pushed you away. It's like they didn't want anybody else to talk to you, to get to know you, or they sort of saw you as their possession, as their arm candy, as like their trophy. And that just isn't very nice. It's incredibly objectifying, and I really don't like that energy. And I'm sensing that it could be that you were with somebody at one point who was very superficial and they only saw you through this one lens of being pretty or being beautiful, and they were like clinging on to that and assuming maybe incorrectly that people only talk to you because you are attractive or they want something physical with you, because maybe that's the energy they were in. Maybe because they were in that energy, they thought that everybody else was approaching you in that way as well. But the right people won't be in this Four of Pentacles energy. But the thing about the Four of Pentacles is it focuses on this one thing, on being possessive over this particular coin, on making that the focus. But there's all these other things going on in the background that are just being ignored. So I feel like maybe, and that could be the reason why you are sort of seeking this validation, is because you don't believe that you are this incredibly attractive person, is because somebody ignored all the other things you had to offer in the past. You don't believe you are beautiful inside and out because, you know, maybe somebody only focused on that, and maybe when they felt insecure and possessive over you, they started to put you down, they started to insult you over your looks or something like that to try and get you to stay with them. It goes back to that kind of negging example that we were talking about, if that has ever happened to you. But the right person will see that you have all these other things going for you: your personality, your intelligence, your love, the things that you pour love into, the things that you have to offer. They are all things that you are so gifted in and that make you so attractive. People, the right person for you, won't see you through just this one lens of being aesthetically pleasing. They won't see you as this trophy, this prize. They will see you as your own well-rounded human who has so much to offer, not just your looks. That is not the only thing you have to offer. Potentially, the right person, they could have had a relationship experience similar to you, in the sense of like maybe they were put down by a previous partner and maybe they are feeling in a sort of more lower self-esteem energy, and perhaps they don't want to approach you because they feel like they're not good enough for you because of the ways they've been put down. They might need to engage with some form of therapy, or perhaps they need to build their confidence up before they come and talk to you. But don't ever think it's because you're not attractive, because you very much are. Not just in your looks, but in the way that you pour love into everything around you, in the way that you are unconventional in many ways. You are not what people expect. You can shock people, you can really surprise them. You are somebody who people just think is so different to what they thought you were like. And with the Queen of Cups as well, obviously this hasn't come out in reverse, and I feel as though that is because you are stepping into your Queen of Cups power and you are embodying a very Queen of Cups upright energy, not a Queen of Cups reversed energy. But I know that sometimes the Queen of Cups reverse can symbolize somebody who is overgiving or is dependent on people in some way. And maybe there was a time in your life where you didn't feel like you were in your power and you did feel like you were dependent. Maybe if you were in this difficult or even abusive relationship, potentially that could have played a part. You know, if it lowered your self-esteem and you felt as though you would never be with somebody other than this person who wasn't very good for you. Maybe you were in a bit of Queen of Cups reversed and you thought that you had to give the world to them to make them happy, when really, you know, it's not about what you were doing or weren't doing. They had some severe lack within them that was stopping them from being the partner you needed them to be. It wasn't anything to do with what you were lacking. But perhaps at one stage in your life you felt as though it was, and I feel like you are fully now stepping into your Queen of Cups upright energy. So something that makes you very attractive is your compassion, it is your kindness. But with the Hermit card, it's also recognizing that sometimes we have to go internally and we have to spend time with ourselves, with our own thoughts. We have to spend time alone and really access that Hermit energy, that being alone and, you know, giving to ourselves, nurturing ourselves, not always overgiving or overextending ourselves to other people. And I feel as though that balance is something that you possess with the projects you nurture, with the routines that you follow. I feel as though that is something you are radiating and something that is making you more attractive. Okay, so that is all I am getting with the tarot cards for you, pile 2. We are just going to close your reading with a little bit of advice. I was looking for the cards and they were right next to me. So we are going to close your reading, pile 2, with a little bit of advice from the Sacred Self-Care Oracle. So, oh, okay, that one flew out. Oh, you got 2. We have build strength and pleasure. Okay, so pleasure makes me think of material pleasures. It makes me think of that kind of Taurus energy, sort of accessing that sensuous, earthly, grounded way of experiencing pleasure through touch, through taste, through smell, through sight. It's to continue making the world around you that beautiful place, is if that is what makes you feel attractive. That is something that is very much also attracting experiences, opportunities, and people to you. The fact that you can beautify anything you come into contact with, the fact that you can make all these sensual experiences beautiful in some way. Obviously, given the imagery on the card, we can also assume that this might relate to intimate pleasure in some way. So this could be exploring your own body via masturbation, self-pleasure. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say on YouTube, so I won't go into that too much. But it could just be that you are really learning to literally love yourself in that way, and you are finding out what works with your body, and that in turn is making you feel very attractive. And I feel like there is nothing more attractive than somebody who is in touch with their own body and who knows themselves in that way. Because being in touch with your own self like that allows you to further enjoy your experiences with other people if that's something you choose to engage in. It could be that, potentially if you were in this difficult relationship at one point, perhaps you didn't experience much pleasure in that sense. I feel like I'm really calling this person out, but honestly, like, they deserve it. If they are not willing to give you pleasure in that way, or they didn't try, they didn't make the effort, they didn't try and figure out what you wanted, it was all about them, then they honestly deserve it, because pile 2, you deserve way more than that, and I think that is something you are discovering now. Perhaps you were very overgiving to the person you were in a relationship with in an intimate sense. It was always about their needs, it was always about doing them, but that was never returned. And maybe for whatever reason that made you feel like you were unattractive if they didn't want to engage in certain activities with you that maybe would make you feel good. Maybe it made you feel as though your body wasn't worth exploring, when honestly, like, I'm telling you, so many people would kill to explore your body. They would do anything just to make you feel good. They would jump through hoops just to be intimate with you in that way. So please don't ever think that it was anything you were doing or not doing. This person can just go away, honestly. This person, however they acted with you, again, it was due to their own lack and nothing to do with you. You fully deserve to have pleasurable, intimate experiences if that is something you want to engage with. And I feel like going forward, because you are now in this Queen of Cups energy, you are this High Priestess energy, you can intuitively guide people in that way. If you are having an intimate experience with another person, you can help guide them, and that is actually very attractive. It's attractive that you are now discovering your body and knowing what you want in that kind of way. That is just one example, but it can relate to just knowing what you want generally and being able to communicate that. With build strength as well, I'm feeling as though, this could refer to physical strength and your daily routine and your workouts. That could be something that makes you feel incredibly good. And if that's the case, I encourage you to stick with that and do whatever feels good for your body. But I believe with like the eye on her head, again, like, I feel as though that could relate to intuition and knowing what works for your body. If at certain points you feel the need to rest and you can't commit to an hour workout because your body is feeling tired, you just can't do it. I feel as though it's like about having that intuition and that sense of balance, that you don't have to be all in all the time. You can build strength up over time, and it doesn't have to be like an all or nothing mentality. It's good to listen to your body and to discover what you intuitively need. One day you might be able to work out for an hour and a half, and you might be able to really commit to it, and you might be very focused on work and building yourself in that sense. And then the next day you might not want to work out at all, and you might just want to masturbate all day. And if you do, and that is making you feel good and making you feel like the goddess you are, then that is absolutely fine, as long as you know it's not getting in the way of your day-to-day life. As long as it's not an addiction in any kind of way, then I think that is absolutely fine and something that is very much encouraged. It could very well be, pile 2, that you are accessing more of this energy of self-love through healing your relationship with your body in terms of body image issues. It could be that in the past you have struggled with an eating disorder or body dysmorphia, something like that. And at the moment you are working on healing those issues. And that in turn is attracting a lot more opportunities to you. Things are attracted to you for that reason, and you are attracted to doing more things. For example, if you have, struggled with body dysmorphia, maybe there was a point in your life where you didn't want to attend events or something like that, or a place where people would be taking photographs because you didn't want to see yourself in the photographs, or you struggled to find something to wear that wouldn't sort of trigger these body image issues. Or potentially you could have declined dates because you didn't want it to get to the stage where somebody could potentially see your body in some way. And maybe these are all just things you avoided, you never allowed yourself to engage in. However, I see that as something you are currently working on healing, and it is going to attract so many more opportunities to you. Fine, and something that is very much encouraged. So yeah, that is what I am getting for you, pile 2. Thank you so much for listening to this reading. I hope you enjoyed it. If anything resonated, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, that is all. Thank you very much, pile 2. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Hi, pile 3. If you picked this clear crystal heart, this will be your reading. Let's just get straight into it. We are going to start off with looking at your oracle card, and then we are going to move on to the tarot portion. Let's have a look at what you got, pile 3. You got Nyx. In your darkness, look for the stars. Okay, pile 3, I am very much sensing with this Nyx card that you are somebody who is so incredibly attractive because there is an element of mystery surrounding you in some way. You are also attractive because of your darkness, but that is in the best way possible. There is a lot that's unknown about you, and it really draws people in. I'm getting the sense that you are somebody who, in your day-to-day life, you might be quite quiet. People perceive you as reserved, but at the same time, that draws them in, and it really makes them want to get to know you on a deeper level. Perhaps there is something that is quite inaccessible about you. You don't reveal yourself to just anybody. Perhaps you don't reveal yourself too much in your day-to-day life. You're probably not somebody who talks a lot. People don't really know you on an intimate level unless you know they are close friends, family members, your partner. And even then, there is still some element of mystery surrounding you. It's like people don't know everything. A lot of things about you have to be uncovered slowly. It's not just all on the surface. There could also be something about you that at first might come across as a little bit unapproachable in some way. You might have been told that you have resting bitch face or something like that. But actually, once people get to know you, they realize that the RBF is actually just a mask, and you are a very warm and nurturing person. But sometimes it takes a while to get to know you in that way, but you're just not how you come across on the surface. because when I looked online, people have quite polarizing views on Nyx. Some people are sort of frightened of Nyx being like associated with the night and the unknown and mystery and things like that, whilst other people say that actually the archetype of Nyx is a very nurturing and warm mother figure in some ways. So it could be that you do have that side of you, but it's not necessarily something that's on the surface. It could be that people are quite intimidated in terms of approaching you. They think you are going to be this one particular way, and actually, once they get to know you, they realize there was nothing to be frightened of. But people are almost, yeah, like a little bit scared of you in some ways. You have a lot of power. They're like scared and attracted to you at the same time. And I hope that makes you feel powerful because that is definitely a power. It could be that if somebody is interested in you in a romantic way and they see you and they want to approach you, there could just be something that makes them feel like if they approach you, they're going to be like cut to shreds. I'm getting like cut to shreds with your words, or you're just going to shut them down and they're going to feel really embarrassed, something like that. It could be that maybe you have quite an intense gaze, or you can make piercing eye contact and it feels as though you can see straight through people. Maybe they feel as though they can't sort of get one over on you, they can't manipulate you, and that sort of frightens them, or it frightens the wrong people away anyway. And I hope you're not offended by me saying that you can potentially come across as unapproachable. I am a Capricorn rising myself, so I know all about that, and I know that sometimes how you present on the surface isn't always who you are on the inside, and the people that matter, the people who do know you, realize that. But in a way, it is quite a positive thing because you can almost frighten the people who, aren't so good for you, who don't have your best interests in mind. You can push them away because they know that they can't manipulate you. But you are giving me overall a very Capricorn rising like energy in some way. You could be a Capricorn rising. You could also, it's giving me Scorpionic energy. So you could have Pluto in the first house or something like that, or be a Scorpio rising, or you could just have prominent Scorpio or Capricorn in your chart. It's also giving me like a little bit of Aquarius as well. Again, like you could have some prominent Aquarius in your chart. Doesn't have to be, but that is just extra confirmation if you do. There could be something about your appearance that is very attractive in a unique way. I'm just noticing obviously all the purple on this card, the purple hair and the purple eyes. It could be that there is something distinctive about you. Potentially you could have a sort of different coloured hair, maybe purple. It doesn't have to be, but it could just be a sort of slightly different colour to other people around you, or you could wear coloured contacts, something like that. Again, you don't have to. It could just be a facial feature of yours that there is something distinctive about it, or your eye contact. You could have very piercing but also soulful eyes that could really lure people in and make them all the more attracted to you. People could kind of get lost in your eyes when they're talking to you. You could have been complimented on your eyes quite a lot, that the eye contact is quite intense, or, they just feel almost powerless under your gaze sometimes. There is something very magnetic about your gaze, or just something distinctive about your face in general that makes people very attracted to you. It lures them in. I want to say something siren-like there is something seductive that sort of calls to people, that lures them in. They want to get to know you better, but they feel as though they can't at the same time. They feel as though there is a part of you that is off limits, but that makes them all the more drawn to you. It makes them want to get to know you even more. With the focus being on nighttime as well, it could be that you wear a lot of dark colours in your day-to-day life. You could wear black a lot. I'm hearing the phrase exclusively black, so perhaps, you pretty much only wear black clothing and it suits you, you look really good in it, you look very attractive in it, people are attracted to your dress sense, your clothing, the way you carry yourself, just the way you look generally, it really suits you. And when I mentioned earlier that you are attractive in some way because of your darkness, It could be that people are drawn to you because they sense that you have this sort of deep, dark knowledge, or maybe in some ways that you have been through a lot. And maybe you have, and it's almost like people, although you don't necessarily say very much, people can see when they look in your eyes that you have this kind of deeper, darker knowledge about all the different facets of humanity. And they are very drawn to that. They want to hear about your experiences, they want to learn more. It could also be that you are very attractive due to the fact that you are not afraid to explore darker or more controversial topics. Perhaps you are quite active on social media and you voice your opinion regarding controversial issues, and that just makes people more drawn to you. It makes people feel as though, this is a person who really sticks up for their beliefs. They are not going to shy away from talking about something just because it could be perceived as controversial. And your opinions can be perceived as quite powerful. So, in turn, that makes people feel as though you are powerful, you are courageous for voicing those opinions. And it makes them think, wow, like this is somebody who genuinely does care about these issues that are going on in the world. And I'm sure that you are already physically beautiful, but there is just something about your opinions and, being able to explore those darker parts of life that make people really connect with you and make them want to reach out to you and be very drawn to you. It could be that when you express an opinion of some kind that you get a lot of people reaching out to you to tell you, they agree with you, and you've sort of spun a new light on this one opinion, this one issue that perhaps they hadn't thought of before. You have a sort of unique way of delivering a message regarding certain issues, and people are very attracted to that. They want to communicate with you because they have this sense that you have a lot of knowledge surrounding those deeper topics, and you're not afraid to plunge into the depth of discussing all of those things. You come across as somebody who is very much not into small talk. You want to go to the deeper parts of life straight away. You are happy to discuss all that and go into quite some depth. And that could be a reason why people are a little bit intimidated by you, or maybe they think you come across as standoffish, but it's not that you actually are standoffish. It's just that you perhaps don't want to sit and talk about the weather, and people know that, and maybe that's why they don't always approach you. Like, I'm sure you are friendly and polite to people, and if you are in a work setting and people are sort of saying like, hi, how was your weekend, or like, oh, this weather, or something like that, I'm sure that you don't immediately shut them down. It's not like that. It's just that for the most part you don't want to engage in this sort of frivolous small talk, so you just sort of keep to yourself when it comes to small talk. You might just say like, yeah, I had a good weekend, what about you, and leave it at that. You don't really try to engage in conversations that aren't going to result in anything deeper. And some people might perceive this as a little bit standoffish, but the right people, it just makes them more drawn to you, more attracted, because they know that they don't want to waste your time, essentially. They want to talk to you about things that matter because they know that you have a lot of knowledge surrounding those topics. You could be into advocacy of some kind and you could voice this, and people are really attracted to that. People are like, Pal 3 is not just somebody who talks about advocacy, they're somebody who actually does something. I don't know why, but for some reason, the phrase like tortured artist is coming to mind. So I don't know whether you are an artist of some kind or you have, some sort of creative outlet. But let's say that you do put your artwork out into the world in some way. It could be that the artwork you put out is a little bit polarizing. Perhaps some people don't get it, but the people who do get it really get it. And it makes you all the more attractive because they get this sense of you having like a deeper knowing or being some kind of tortured artist. And the art that you make really means something, and it could be something that's perceived as quite weird, and it doesn't have to be art. Like perhaps you just have a bit of a strange taste in like films or TV shows or music or culture of some kind, and maybe if you are open, like on social media or something, about the kind of artwork or films or TV shows you enjoy, perhaps there are some people who think it's weird and they think, oh, like Pal 3 has to be a little bit disturbed to enjoy this kind of thing. But at the same time, people are very attracted to it. And I feel like the right people, perhaps fellow people of culture, such as yourself, they are attracted to it because there is this sense of like, wow, like Pal 3 is deeply disturbed, but also so hot. That's what I'm getting. And I don't know why, but there is just something about you that people are a little scared by, but also it draws them in an immense way. If there is a particular niche sort of hobby or a topic that you are interested in that maybe other people aren't, or like they think it's weird, you might get people who are very attracted to you based on that. They want to reach out to you based on this hobby that you engage in, that you could be a bit more open about on social media or something like that. For some reason, I'm getting like taxidermy, and that's not going to apply to very many people. But I'm thinking it doesn't have to be that, but I'm thinking just along those lines of something that, you know, isn't entirely commonplace. And some people think it could be a bit gross or weird or that you are disturbed, but that is not the case. The people that get it. And, you know, they understand that you have your outlets for whatever reason, and it makes you more attractive that you are into these quite interesting and out there topics and hobbies, and that you're not afraid to explore darker hobbies in some way. There is just this immense sense of mystery and mysticism surrounding you. It's like people constantly want to get to know more and more about you. You could be somebody who people are attracted to and they ask other people a lot of questions about you because they are scared to approach you in some way. You are probably somebody like your social media is quite private. You probably have a private Instagram, so you feel inaccessible to some people even in that way, and that makes people want you more. They want to know more about you because it feels like they can't get you. That is very much what I'm sensing with that card, pile 3. So we are going to roll the astro dice just for a little bit of further confirmation. So bear with me and we'll see what we get. Pile 3, pile 3 mix. Okay, pile 3. So we have Capricorn. We have Capricorn. We have the sun, interestingly, because you got Nyx, which is, you know, associated with the night, but we got the sun. And we also got the 9th house. We got the 9th house. So I know in your oracle check we did speak a little bit about Capricorn and how that might be a prominent placement for you, and it is coming through on the astro dice. So if you do have prominent Capricorn placements, maybe it's in your big 3, or, you know, I mentioned Capricorn rising, it could be that that applies for you. And if so, that is extra confirmation. Again, there is this sense of you being a little bit reserved and potentially quite business-like. Although people are very intrigued by you, they get the sense that there is much more to you than meets the eye. There is much more to explore, but they can't quite grasp it, and that makes them all the more drawn to you. It makes you very attractive. It could be that a lot of people at your workplace are very attracted to you because they sense there is this layer up that for some reason they can't quite penetrate. They can't quite reach the real you. There is this barrier between like the work you and the actual you. And they know that, I mean, maybe like occasionally you've cracked the odd joke in a workplace and people have got this little bit of a sense of the real you. But for the most part, because you are somebody who, you know, you are quite business-like, even if you're not a sort of career-orientated person, you approach the world maybe in a business-like or quite Capricorn way. Like you are there to do a job. You're not really there to make friends. You're not there to stroke people's egos or anything like that. You're there to do your work, to carry out your job. But maybe occasionally like little bits of you shine through, and that is maybe like the real you, the sun. the actual you, but potentially it's only those little bits that escape and people don't really know the real you, but that makes them all the more intrigued. It makes them want to get to know you because of this quite Capricorn energy. I'm getting again that you could be somebody, because a lot of the Capricorns I know in my life, they have this dark humor. And actually, like, Capricorn people can be extremely funny, and I don't think people always realize that. The stereotype is always to do with like work and career and business. And you know, that can be a prominent thing in Capricorn's life, but it's not everything. Capricorns can be very darkly humorous. They can have incredible senses of humor. So that could be something that's significant for you. Maybe you keep to yourself for the most part, like at work or something, and then you crack this really funny, like strangely dark joke. And people are like, where did that come from? But also, it makes them want to hear more. It makes them want to hear more of your opinions, for you to share jokes. It makes them a bit like, whoa, like pal 3 hardly ever speaks, and now they just said something so darkly funny, and we want more of it, essentially. There could be something like a little bit sarcastic about your humor as well. It could be very dry. I know a lot of the Capricorns in my life have that super dry and sarcastic sense of humor. They are incredibly good at, you know, like keeping a straight face and saying something totally straight faced and making everyone crack up. It's like using that sort of RBF, that resting bitch face, to your advantage in some way, something about that. And with this ninth house, I'm getting that you are somebody who is perceived as somebody who has a good amount of education, who is well educated, who is intelligent. You know, the ninth house represents higher learning, and people sense this about you and they find it very attractive. It goes back to your beliefs. So the ninth house can refer to like philosophical beliefs and expansion. It is a Sagittarius house, so I don't know, maybe Sagittarius is relevant to you in some way. It could be that you are attractive in the sense you get people to expand their philosophical beliefs, you get people to question their own opinions because of the opinions that you put out into the world, because of these controversial, darker topics that you are not afraid to shy away from. It could be that you get people thinking about things in a different light, and that is very attractive. Going back to the thing I said about maybe like people messaging you if you share your opinion about something, it could be that people message you saying like, wow, I never thought of this topic in this way before, but you have essentially really expanded my consciousness in some way. Obviously not quite worded like that, but it could be something similar to that. Even if you're somebody who doesn't say very much, it's like you don't really need to say much, but people get this sense that you are well educated and that you do have a lot of knowledge, and people are quite drawn to that. They know that you don't say things unnecessarily. I think that's the thing with this reserved energy. You're not somebody who like talks for the sake of talking. So people are really keen to ask for your opinion on things, maybe in like a business or professional sense. People are keen to get your opinion because I think they know that you are quite observant and you take in a lot, you notice a lot without necessarily saying loads, and that is very attractive, and especially in a business sense. And with the sun, I really find it interesting that we got the sun in this reading. I mean, I would have probably expected to get the moon or something like that, but the sun showing up here, it's giving me the sense that there are two sides to you, and your sunny side is so beautiful and shines so bright, but maybe it's something that only a select few lucky people get to see. It's like everybody wants to get to know you, but they might see more of like the moon side because they sense that there's something hidden that they can't quite access. But with this sun, you do have a side to you that is incredibly warm and sunny and nurturing. But maybe it just takes people time to get to know you in that way. And maybe you show that side of yourself to people who are willing to engage in these more deeper topics. Maybe if people start talking about these sort of philosophical things that kind of sets your soul on fire in a way, maybe that makes you open up and show that more sunny side of yourself. Maybe people see that you light up and you get very passionate about the things you're talking about, and then sort of this sun energy comes out. And with the sun energy, I'm getting like a quiet confidence with you as well. Obviously, the sun is associated with Leo. And so maybe Leo is prominent to you in some way. But I get the sense that wherever Leo falls in your chart, if it does, it's not this sort of outward projection of confidence in that way. It's like a quiet confidence. It's a I don't need to talk to assert my point confidence. It's a I can make my point by just being me confidence and just showing up and existing. People realize that about you, and it is something that is incredibly attractive. And as well, because you might be somebody who is so difficult to get to know, people really feel lucky once they have got to know you in a more intimate way, and people feel very lucky to be in your orbit. They feel very lucky to surround you. They feel lucky that they have been chosen. There's something quite exclusive about your energy. That's what I'm getting, like exclusivity. It's like not everyone can get it, but the people who do get it, they really appreciate that because they know that not everyone sees that side of you, and therefore they feel very lucky to be in your energy. That is what I am getting with your oracle card and with the astro dice. So pile 3, we are going to move along to the tarot portion of your reading. Okay, pile 3, let's have a look at what we've got for your tarot reading. Okay, pile 3, you got the 5 of Pentacles. You got the 5 of Swords reversed. You got the Emperor. You got the Devil in reverse. You got the 7 of Cups. You got the 4 of Cups in reverse. You got the 6 of Wands. You got the Star. And you got the 9 of Pentacles. Okay, so with this 5 of Pentacles, I'm sensing that people are very attracted to you, pile 3, because they sense that you know what it's like to go through struggle. They sense, even just by looking in your eyes potentially, that you have been through hardship. They sense that you have been through a lot, and potentially this isn't something you talk about on a day-to-day basis, but people just feel as though you can understand going through struggle. You can understand people's perspectives, people from all different aspects of life. And for some reason, it could be that it's due to the art you create, things that you put out into the world, your experiences that you might talk about relating to some of the philosophical beliefs that you have. It could be to do with that, but for whatever reason, something that you put out into the world makes people think that you have experienced struggle, and that makes you very attractive because they know that it gives you this sense of empathy, this sense of understanding that not everyone is able to have. I'm getting the sense that you're somebody who really advocates for the underdog in certain situations. And again, this is something that makes the things you say, the things you express very compelling, and it draws people to you because people are willing to see it from a different perspective based on what you've said. Your words can be very powerful, and this is extremely attractive. The 5 of Swords can sometimes indicate like intimidation or bullying when it's in the upright position. However, I'm not getting much of a sense of that with you. People are intimidated by you, and that is something that might make you attractive. But because it's in reverse, I'm thinking more that like people don't want to mess with you, because they get this sense that they will be in trouble if they do argue with you for some reason. And it's not necessarily, I mean, the 5 of Swords in reverse can indicate revenge. So it might be that people know if they treat you in a way that is not very nice, that something bad will happen to them, or, you know, they get this sense that there will be revenge in some way, that they will not get away with it. And I don't necessarily think that you would go out and like seek revenge, but people just get this sense of like, oh, you are not a person who wants to be messed with, and, you know, something not very nice will happen to them if they do approach you with that negative energy. It could also be that when people lose you, they do really regret it. They have a lot of regrets and they sort of embody this Five of Swords energy. It could be that if they mess up with you, you like cut them off and they are trying very hard to reconcile, but they know they have sort of broken your trust in some way, because you could be somebody who, you know, we've spoke about, like, you might take a while to open up properly to people. So when they do have access to you and they ruin whatever access to you they have in some way, it could be that sense of like, that is it, you cut your losses and you move on. And this makes people very regretful because they realize what they had with you, and, you know, that is now lost. They know they are never going to get it back. So it could be that people really struggle once you have left their life. They experience hardship because they really miss you. They want you back, they want to reconcile, but they know that that's never going to happen. They're not going to get you back in that way. Pile 3, with this Emperor card, you are very attractive to people because you are perceived as somebody who has a lot of authority and who is very controlled in the way that they present, the way they come across. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you are in like the highest position at your job. I think it's just that people respect your opinions very much. They respect your viewpoint in whatever job you're in or whatever you do in life. And, you know, you might not be, if let's say it's a job, you might not be the highest paid employee there. You might not be in like a CEO role or something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you're in that position, but it's just that in whatever position you're in, you come across as very knowledgeable, you come across as having a lot of authority, and people really look to you for guidance, and that makes you very attractive. It feels as though you are very much in control of any situation that you encounter, that you know what you're doing, and that puts people around you at ease who perhaps don't always know what they're doing, but it just makes you come across as somebody who is like never flustered. It makes you come across as very cool, calm and collected, and that is attracted to people regardless of whether you feel that way on the inside or not. That is how you come across, like it's how people perceive you, and they do find it very alluring. You could come across as somebody who has a good degree of self-control, and people really envy that, and at the same time they find it quite attractive. Unfortunately, Pile 3, I do get the sense with this Devil in Reverse card, I do get the sense that some people are attracted to you because they almost see you as their salvation in some way. You could get like a lot of obsessive energy surrounding you. I mean, I know the Devil card didn't come up in the upright position, but it could just be that people feel very tempted by you. People can get quite obsessive over your energy. It could be that you attract people who require a lot of healing. Perhaps in the past you have attracted people who struggle with addictions of some kind, or just people who are lacking in the sense of self-control that they perceive you as having. Perhaps this is one of the reasons they are drawn to you, is because you have so much self-control, or at least it appears that way on the surface, and they feel they are lacking in that department. So it makes them very drawn to you. It makes them want to sort of harvest some of your energy for themselves. It makes them feel as though being around you, being in a relationship with you, in a partnership, would make them embody some of that energy. And unfortunately, that might sort of attract some of the wrong people towards you, because they see you as, yeah, like this salvation, this person who's going to get them out of this devil energy. And it could be that because, you know, there is some element of you that is quite inaccessible in whatever way. It could be that people sort of project onto you. They have this obsession about you because they don't really know the real you. So they kind of conjure this fantasy in their mind. And again, like with this Cups card, I'm feeling as though you're somebody who people daydream about a lot. They have a lot of fantasies about you. People can get lost in their fantasies about you, but sometimes they're not always thinking about the very real aspects of you. It could just be this projection, what they think it would be like to to be with you based on this perspective, this perception they have of you that, you know, isn't necessarily, it doesn't encompass everything. The way you appear on the surface, it doesn't, you know, encompass everything that you are. And, you know, unfortunately, people get stuck in this sort of fantasy, and they could be very attracted to the fantasy of you. You could get a lot of people thinking that, you know, it would be amazing to be with pile 3, and they're sort of daydreaming about it. Maybe they could even dream about you and become sort of obsessed with you based on that, when really it's not the reality of the situation. Because we're getting a lot of Pentacles energy and like this Emperor card, that makes me think of, you know, like a work setting or some kind of authority. It could be that somebody who is above you at work is very attracted to you at the moment. When I say above you, I literally just mean like in terms of their job role. Maybe for some reason, the person that's attracted to you, it feels like forbidden, or it feels like a temptation with this Devil card. Maybe you get a lot of people in a work setting who are very attracted to you and have these daydreams, but they feel like they can't really explore it. They feel like there's an element of it that's forbidden in some way, and they're like, no, I can't think like that about pile 3, but nevertheless, they keep being drawn in. With both of these cards, actually, I'm getting the sense that you are somebody who, once people have left your life, once people don't have access to you anymore in that more intimate way, I'm getting that people are very stuck in the past. They are stuck in their head thinking about you. You are somebody who they will never forget. They keep returning to memories of you, of better times, and sort of having this wishful thinking that they were still in your life, that they could still access you in that way, when, you know, that has now passed. I'm getting the sense that you are somebody who is very independent, and that is very attractive to many people. I'm getting the sense that you are somebody who is very focused on moving forward, and you don't stay in like one particular mindset. If going down a different route is better for your growth, you're somebody who continues to develop that philosophical knowledge, and that is something that is very attractive about you, because you don't stay in this like stagnant energy. You are always thinking about moving forward. Like maybe that you won't stay, or you will no longer stay in bad relationships. You will move on if something isn't serving you. You are quite independent in the sense that you can sort of cut ties with somebody, and that is that. You are not looking back. And as well, with the 7 of Cups, you could be very attractive in the sense that you will never stop searching for purpose, because you have this very sort of higher learning, Sagittarius, philosophical side. You're not, again, somebody who is willing to stay in sort of stagnant energy. You are constantly looking towards like finding clarity, finding purpose in some way. With the 6 of Wands, I'm getting that people are incredibly attracted to you because they see you as somebody who is very abundant in terms of recognition and pride. Perhaps you are somebody who receives a lot of praise at your work, or if you don't, you are somebody who deserves to receive a lot of praise for the work that you carry out. And people are very drawn to this. They see you as somebody who could be very successful, whether that's in a material sense or just in terms of like your hobbies, your art that you might put into the world, the way you advocate for things online, if that's something you do. They see you as somebody who could be very successful in this endeavor, and it makes you very attractive. Also, I just want to point out that this is why I love doing readings with different tarot cards, because the imagery, the different imagery on each card really speaks to me. And with this one in particular, I'm getting the sense of you being somebody who is very powerful in terms of the things you say and the things that you have to offer. On this card, I'm feeling as though that is you, and you are literally like the star of the show. And, you know, we'll go on to this star card in a minute because that's coming out. So maybe that's sort of influencing my thoughts. But with this crown on her head, it's like she's on the stage and everybody is listening to what she has to say. And people could view you in that light. They could view you as being somebody who does have a lot of powerful things to say, and also somebody who could influence people in that kind of way. Again, like going back to what we said in the oracle reading, I feel as though people have maybe approached you and told you that you have changed their opinion on certain things because of something that you have expressed. And with this Six of Wands card, I'm getting the sense that people really listen to you. They think what you have to say is important and that is incredibly powerful, and it's something that people are very attracted to. People get this sense that they could like go far with you in some way because they see your potential. Maybe you're somebody who, you know, you don't necessarily realize that yet, or potentially you don't have like this big platform that you speak on, but people sense that you could do because what you have to say is so important and people will listen to it. People will prioritize your words and your thoughts, your viewpoints. And with this Star card, you are somebody who is very attractive because you really stand out. You provide a unique experience to people that they feel as though they cannot find anywhere else. And it just makes you incredibly alluring. It makes people want to be closer to you. People get this sense that there is just something so different about your energy, and there is also something very healing and rejuvenating about you. And unfortunately, Pile 3, this could have led to, you know, you attracting some of this like devil energy, or, you know, people who potentially need healing. They see you as a source of healing. They think, if I just be with Pile 3, then all of my problems will be solved, everything will be perfect, they will be able to heal and support me. And although you are very capable of supporting people, I think you are somebody who realizes that healing has to take place from within first and foremost. And you know, I'm not saying that you have to be completely healed and everything is perfect to be in a relationship with somebody. I don't think that's the case, because you know, healing can take a lifetime, it can take a long time. Healing never really stops, it just kind of continues throughout our lives. But unfortunately, I'm sensing, like, due to people's projections of you and this sort of fantasy that they've placed on you, sometimes people can see you as this person who they think will swoop in and just be able to fix all their problems, when really they need to realize that if they are having issues, that those issues reside within and they can only be fixed from within. They can't be fixed externally. You can help and support people and you can provide this sense of rejuvenation, but you can't swoop in and fix people's problems, because that is impossible. And I think you know that, but potentially in the past you were drawn to relationships with people that needed healing because they were very much drawn to you. They saw out your energy on the basis that you are so unique. You do offer this, you know, different, authentic perspective that they couldn't find elsewhere. And with this Nine of Pentacles, I'm getting that people are incredibly attracted to you because you come across as very self-sufficient. And I think it goes back to like this sort of controlled energy with the Emperor. You come across as somebody who is very much in control of his or her own life. You might be stepping into an energy currently where you do have more material abundance, more financial security, but that doesn't have to be the case. It could just be that people sense that you are very secure in yourself. You can sit back. You don't need approval or validation from anyone. You are enjoying your leisure time. You are enjoying a drink, you are sitting back, you are just self-sufficient and so secure that you don't need anybody to tell you how amazing you are. You already know, and that is something that is very attractive. It could be that you have had like a recent success, either in a material sense or just in like terms of personal development or something like that. And it could be that you are in this energy where, you know, you can sit back and people come toward you. People are attracted to you. They're drawn to you. You don't need to get up and force people to come to you because you are already so abundant. You don't need to chase anybody. You are just in this energy where you are attracting, because people can see that you don't need to rely on anybody. They see that you are independent. They see that you are self-sufficient and you don't need anybody's approval to do anything, and people are very attracted to that. People know that any addition to your life in a romantic sense will be because you want it and not because you need it, because you are so independent that you really don't need it. Anybody that's coming into your life, they need to be somebody who really improves your life, who works with you, otherwise you're not going to accept it. That is very much the energy I'm getting. Okay, Pile 3, that is what I am getting for your tarot reading. We are just going to finish this portion of the reading off with a little bit of advice from the Sacred Self-Care Oracle. So just bear with me and we will shuffle those and see what you've got. Pile 3. Oh, that wanted to pop out. Family. Okay, so actually your Sacred Self-Care Oracle popped out pretty much straight away, and we got number 23, family. So potentially the number 23 could be significant to you. That could be the age you are at currently, or perhaps you have just passed that age and you're stepping into this more sort of Nine of Pentacles, star energy. With this family card, I'm getting the sense that people are very attracted to you also because you are very ride or die. Like your friends, the people who are close to you, who know you in a more intimate way, they can really rely on you. You treat them as if they were your actual family. A lot of people might not be able to get close to you, but the people who are close to you, you really, truly love and support them. You are very reliable, you're dependable. Friends and partners alike are very attracted to the idea of being in your inner circle or in your family in some way because they know that it is a privilege to be there. They know that your energy is to some degree elusive and also exclusive, that you know it is a privilege to just be in your circle like that. It's not something that comes easily. It could be potentially something that you sort of make people work for. In some regard, like you don't open up extremely easily, but once you do, you are really there to support and embrace your family in that sense, and people are very drawn to this. It could be that this card is advising you to spend more time with your family. Now, this doesn't have to be your actual biological family. It could be if you have a good relationship with them. This card could be encouraging you to explore that. However, it could just be like your chosen family, so your partner or your friends. This could be encouraging you to spend more time with them. And also maybe for you to rely on your friends more if you need help, because maybe that's something you don't always do. Maybe you help a lot of other people, but you don't always accept help, or you don't always ask when you need help. So maybe this card is encouraging you to care for yourself by asking for help when you need it, by relying on people as much as they rely on you for advice or for anything really. It could just be asking you to take a step back from work if you've been working very hard in a business sense. It could be asking you to take more time to spend with your family, to enjoy more leisurely activities, to do things with the people you love, because maybe you will feel more rejuvenated that way. Maybe if you have been concentrating on your career or some kind of business or some kind of hobby, maybe it feels as though recently you have been neglecting those close relationships in your life. So maybe this card is encouraging you to nurture those more, because people really value having you in their life, but also it's what makes you feel good. And because you are quite a philosophical person, I'm sensing, it could be that you feel happiest when you're spending time with your inner circle, the people closest to you, rather than, you know, just colleagues or just people at work, because you can really bounce ideas off people who are close to you. You can have these sort of philosophical chats, and that is something that is very much needed, and something that just makes you more attractive, because you're truly standing in your power when you're able to bounce ideas off other people and have these philosophical discussions and really utilize your knowledge in that way. Okay, pile 3, that is what I am getting with your cards. I hope this resonated. If it did resonate in any way, if you enjoyed the reading, please give me a like and please leave a comment below. Thank you so much, pile 3. I'll see you in the next one. Hi, pile 4. Welcome to your reading. If you chose this tortoiseshell crystal heart, this will be your reading. Also, I just wanted to apologise for any background noise. One of my neighbours is doing some work in their garden, so there is a little bit of noise. I apologise for that. It can't be helped. I live in a densely populated area and it's a Sunday during the day, so yeah, there is going to be some noise going on. I apologise for that if it is distracting. I will try and reduce it when I'm editing if I can. But yeah, apologies for that if you can hear that noise. Okay, pile 4, let's have a look at what we've got. You've got Circe, Trust yourself, you have all the answers. Okay, pile 4. So, historically, the law surrounding Circe was that she was this powerful witch, this powerful enchantress. So, that is the energy that you very much embody and something that makes you incredibly attractive. I feel as though with this element of like magical mysticism, this witchy energy, you are somebody who enchants people. It is like you put a spell on people. You are somebody who is very much capable of getting people addicted to your energy. And I keep hearing the phrase met their match. Like when people meet you, it feels as though they have met their match in some way. And this could refer to the way that you draw people in. And once you have them, it feels like they never want to leave you. That is very much the sense that I'm getting. And to delve a little bit deeper into this, it could be like one example could be that in the past you have had entanglements with people who might be perceived as like F boys or F girls, like they might be perceived as players in some way. And it's like when they initially approach you, they think that you're just going to be a little fling. They're just going to deal with you for a few weeks. They're just going to see sort of what they can get out of you because, unfortunately, you know, people do sometimes think that way when they are unhealed. But what they didn't know is that they had met their match and they ended up addicted to you. And if anything, you were the one who had to end things or the one who had to tell them that they were being a little bit clingy and that you were done with them now or something like that. It could be that they were sort of approaching you with the intention of like dating you for a few weeks, but then they ended up wanting to get into a relationship, and maybe in the end you didn't want that and you kind of had to push them away. Maybe that has happened repeatedly for you, and it's always with somebody unexpected, somebody who you don't expect to be the type to like fall for people. You end up reeling them in and they are on your hook and they don't want to leave. It's like you've put some spell on them, like you've lured them in with your magical powers. Whatever you are doing has got them addicted in some way. It's got them not wanting to give you up, even if they didn't anticipate that that would be the case, even if they just thought, yeah, well, I'll be with Pal 4 for a little bit, but, you know, I want to keep my options open. You become their only option. Once you are in their life, they see themselves as never being without you. You are the only option from that point forwards. I'm getting the vibe that you are very much able to tame the untamable. That is what is coming through. Online, it says that Circe was able to tame wild beasts and she was able to turn her love interests into lions and wolves with these potions that she would make, these drugs, this mixture that she would concoct. I get the sense that you are very much the potion. It's not that you are giving your love interests or your companions drugs, it's that you very much are the drug. People get addicted to you and your energy and they never want to leave you alone. And you are able to tame these people, like potentially, let's say it's like an F boy or girl, and you know they are used to jumping from person to person, from relationship to relationship. They usually don't make much effort romantically in their relationships. Let's say they are maybe only in it for the physical or just for a short time. And, you know, perhaps they are just not very nice in that they aren't upfront about this. Like, there's nothing wrong with just wanting to have a physical relationship if that's what somebody wants. But with F boys or girls, like, they often lull you into the sense that they do want a relationship in a romantic sense at first. And then, you know, once they sort of get what they want in a physical way, they don't make much effort anymore. So it's the deceptive nature of F boys and girls that is mostly the problem. But let's say like you encounter this type of person and they might be trying to lull you into a relationship. They say that that's what they want, but deep down, you know that they're just in it for a bit of fun. And honestly, you don't mind because you're maybe in it for just a little bit of fun as well. But after 1 week with you, They have gone from like this wild beast who just wants to meet new people and party all the time to like this domesticated, cuddly little creature. They are like offering to cook you meals, they're offering to clean your house, to pay your bills, things like that. You just get the previously untamable person. You get them domesticated, you get them sort of offering to do all these things for you because they don't want to be out of your life once they have you. That's it, like they see you as the only option. Again, it's like you've put this weird sort of spell on them. Online, it talks about how Cersei invited her love interest round and she fed them a meal and it had these drugs in, and that is what sort of turned them into creatures. So I'm also getting this sense that, you know, once people spend time with you, your energy kind of, like I say, it is the drug, but also it ruins them for all other partners. It's like once somebody gets their foot in the door, once somebody gets a seat at your table, they will greedily inhale your food, enjoy every minute of it, and then they just never want to leave your house. That is very much the energy that I'm getting. It doesn't have to be like that you physically cooked them a meal, but that's the sort of image that I got in my head based on what I'd read about Cersei and her energy. It could be like in romantic relationships, the way you are able to treat people. They are so attracted to you that they just never want to be with anyone else. You are like the it girl or boy. If we use the sort of meal example as a point of reference, it could be that, you know, your romantic partner, the first time you cook for them, maybe it's the first time anyone has ever cooked for them, but either way, maybe they just haven't had the experience of having a home cooked meal with a lot of love poured into it, and maybe you are able to do that for them. And once they have a taste of your food, let's say, they just don't want to leave you alone. They are like, I'm never going to get this anywhere else. And it just makes them want to be a part of your life forever. And on that note, it also said when I was reading up about Cersei that she would turn her love interest companions into pigs. Now, obviously, you're not turning your love interest companions into pigs, I don't think. But that just made me think of this idea again that once people get a sort of taste for you, that it ruins them, it ruins all other partners for them. You are somebody who has so much to offer that once somebody is with you, if they are then to move on to somebody else, there's always this game of comparison. And I guess we could just use like the food thing as an example, but it could be that their next partner cooks them a meal and it's just nowhere near on the same level as the food that you used to make for them, something like that. Maybe if they're with somebody else, they're constantly thinking about the food that you used to make and constantly wishing that they had that back in their life. It doesn't have to be food specifically, like it could be anything. I guess it could even be in like a physical sense. If you were intimate with somebody in that way, it could refer to that. But also it could just be referring to the way that you love, the way that you care for people, the way you communicate with people. People just feel this sense of something so special with you that they can't get with anybody else. Like there is no comparison. They might try to compare, but there is just no comparison. Once they have had a sort of taste of you, they don't want anything with anyone else. And, you know, you have the power to tame these previously untamable people in some way. And it's like people find that very attractive because they don't know how you are doing it. They are like, how does pile four have that much power? And the thing is like you can tame these people, but if they are sort of F boys or girls, you don't want anything to do with that. Like you don't even want to tame them because you know that you are deserving of much more than that. You know that you are better than that. So it's like you've got them, but you don't even want them. And people find a lot of power and respect in that. They find it very attractive because you know your worth and you know that you're going to dismiss anyone who doesn't, you know, adhere to your standards. You have high standards for yourself. And it's so funny as well because these people who you are able to tame, like these F boys or girls, it feels as though they see you sometimes as like a bit of a heartbreaker, like you have broken their heart and they now know what that feels like. Like if they have done that to other people in the past, they now realize what it feels like. And then, that has given them some perspective and in a way it's made them grow. But it's just so funny and so hypocritical that they can see you that way, but that is potentially what they have done to a lot of people. And as well, it's not as though like you have been like an F boy or girl. I feel as though you are quite upfront with what you want. And if you do just want something like physical or short term, I feel as though, you are relatively upfront about that. You are quite assertive in your wants. I do think you are quite assertive. You have quite a boss energy about you. You have a sort of, I know what I want and I'm going to go after it. I'm going to get it kind of energy. So I think this is something that you are honest about and you don't really trick people, but it feels like they feel as though they've been tricked because you somehow were able to like cast this sort of magic spell on them to make them want to stay, and maybe they have never had that with anyone else. So they feel as though they've been tricked even though they haven't, and it gets them kind of in their feelings about it. But honestly, they need a little bit of perspective because these could be the kinds of people who were hurting other people with not being very honest. Perhaps you've taught them a lesson in some way that, they can't essentially treat people like that. And, perhaps that has made them gain some new insight that they didn't have previously. So you help people grow in that way, and that is something that's very attractive about you. There is just something very magnetic and alluring and magical about your energy and the way you get people hooked on it. With the eyes in particular, I am sensing a lot of fiery energy with this pile, so you could resonate with having prominent Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius in your chart, but this doesn't have to be the case. I am just getting a sort of passionate, go-getter energy, a going after what you want energy, and again, this is something that people do find extremely attractive. You could be somebody who is very much not afraid to ask for what you want in a physical sense. Like in the bedroom, you are not afraid to tell somebody what to do. And if you like being submissive, it's not that you can't be submissive, it's just that you are quite assertive in getting what you want. You know yourself, again, like you have all the answers, and you are also there to provide clarity and give other people answers and to kind of guide them, and you're not one to shy away from expressing your needs. So this could be something that people find very attractive, the fact that you are not afraid to shy away from that kind of thing and not afraid to ask for what you want, because you're going to get what you want ultimately, and this is something that people find very compelling. I just sense this overall energy of fierceness with you, and also it's making me think of somebody who is very protective of their inner circle, of like their friends and family. It makes me think that you are the person who would stick up for maybe your friends and family who are a little bit more shy or not able to voice themselves. Maybe you really advocate for the people who need you in that way. You come across as somebody who is quite protective of your circle, and again, this is something that people find really attractive. I'm really feeling as though you are quite loyal to the people who are willing to give their all to you. You are willing to give your all in return. You are quite like enthusiastic and passionate in relationships, in friendships. You are willing to sort of go the extra mile for people. People really appreciate that. It can feel a little bit all or nothing. It can feel a little bit intense, and maybe some people are scared away by that energy. But it's something that you aren't willing to compromise on, because you know what you value, you know your needs, and you know how important they are. And ultimately, you're going to be with somebody who respects that. I also get the sense that you are somebody who has spent a lot of time developing your self-trust, and you now are in this independent energy where you know that you can only really rely on yourself. Maybe there has been a point in time where you have had to exclusively rely on yourself. You've had to be very independent and have this go-getting energy. Like, I'm getting somebody who maybe, and this is just one example, it doesn't have to resonate, but at some point in your life, perhaps you had to distance yourself from family or something like that. Perhaps you moved out when you were very young, or you had a child when you were very young and you had to be independent. You had to like just go after what you want in order to live, and that helped develop your self-esteem and your self-trust, because you only had yourself to fall back on. If something went wrong, it was you who had to pick up after whatever went wrong, had to deal with the consequences, because you were on your own at some point in your life. You have spent time on your own with your own thoughts, and you have really developed that sense of self-trust in that way. So people know that you can be very self-sufficient, also dependable, that you can be very protective, and these are all things that makes you very attractive to people. I get the sense that you are very much not somebody who is going to take anybody's BS. You are going to put people in their place. People might be a little bit intimidated or scared of you for this reason, because again, you are not willing to put up with nonsense. Basically, you will shut it down. If somebody tries arguing with you, then then they're not going to come out the best in that situation, is what I will say. You could have a very sort of fiery tongue. You could put people in their place with your words. I don't get the sense that you are necessarily like a physical fighter. Like, you don't act this way unless you have to, but if somebody gets on the wrong side of you, then, you know, things aren't going to be good for them. That's all I'm saying. We do not encourage violence in any way on this channel, but if you use your words violently to those who have done you wrong, then I can't say anything about that. Like, it is what it is. That is just the energy that I'm getting. Okay, that is what I am getting for you, pal 4. Let's have a little look at the astro dice. Let's roll those and we'll see if there's any more confirmation of this energy. Pal 4, pal 4. Okay, pal 4. So interestingly, we have the moon. We have the moon. And we have the 4th house, which is the moon's kind of natural home, really. We have the 4th house. And we also have Scorpio. We have Scorpio. Okay, so we'll go through this Scorpio energy first. We'll touch on that. I think you are somebody who is incredibly attractive because you come across as very powerful, and you seem as though you have been through a lot of transformation in your life. You come across as though you have had to go through a lot of personal development and really go through this sense of death and rebirth, and that in turn has made you appear very powerful. You might have been through a lot in a short space of time or in your life so far, and people, you know, might be able to sense this about you, that you've been through these massive transformations, and it has made you more self-assured, more self-confident. You have more of that trust in yourself. You've been able to develop that based on what you've been through, and it makes you really attractive. It also might make you come across as quite intense. Again, like, you might have messages in pile 3, because a little bit of this did come through in pile 3, but you could have like a very intense gaze or intense eye contact in some way. Or talking about the magical powers of Circe, it could feel as though you have like a magical gaze, or you put a spell on people with your eyes. Just this intensity that you kind of exhibit outwardly, it just makes people, it just lures people in. And I think people are also attracted to your honesty. You are very upfront. You're not, I don't think, the type of person who, you know, if somebody asks, like, are you upset with me? Like, what have I done? I think you're the type of person to be quite assertive about it. I don't think you're the type of person who would say, no, like, I'm fine, and just go off into a sulk and not really deal with it. I think you would tell that person exactly what they have done wrong. And I think actually people, although some people might be a little bit terrified of this honesty, I think the right people really appreciate it, and they actually find it very attractive about you. That you are willing to be so honest, that you can stand up for yourself like that. Again, it all comes across as quite powerful. And just what I was saying in regards to you being like protective of your inner circle, I feel like Scorpio can really embody this energy, can be quite protective. And I feel as though you are quite a loyal person as well, and that very much comes through. People really appreciate that and they are attracted to it. If somebody is like bad mouthing one of your friends, you're essentially going to shut that right down. You're going to stick up for them. And that is something that people like, your integrity and your honesty and just everything about how you come across and you express yourself is very attractive to people. And interestingly, we got the fourth house, which represents home, it represents roots, and we also got the moon. So, the moon in astrology is Cancer, in tarot, it's Pisces, I think. But also, interestingly, the moon is at home in the fourth house. The moon feels comfortable there, so it feels as though like once you might come across as a little bit defensive sometimes when people don't know you very well. Like maybe you are quite reluctant to share that softer side of you, but you do indeed have a softer side when you let your guard down, perhaps when you are at home or you are around people you are comfortable with. You have this very sensitive, soft, nurturing side, and the people who are lucky enough to see that do find it incredibly attractive. Although you are very fierce, you are also quite sensitive and quite protective, and I feel as though the people in your life who you really care about, you genuinely want to nurture them and offer them warmth and offer them comfort, and people can really sense that with you, the people who are close to you. It could actually be that you yourself are a mother or a father, you could be a parent, and although you present as this sort of very boss, fierce, powerful energy externally, you also realize that some of your power lies within being that sensitive, nurturing person. And, you know, perhaps when you are at home, you are able to let this side of yourself show. And you, I think, if you do have children, you really want to create a safe space for them, a safe, warm, and nurturing space. Maybe that was something that you didn't have as a child with the roots and family showing up. Maybe you endeavor to create that safe space for the people close to you, like your children or like your family generally, because perhaps you didn't have that. And to a certain degree, that's why there might be a little bit of defensiveness to people who don't know you very well, because you know you've had to sort of put up walls, you've had to create a guard, and you've had to learn to trust yourself and be self-sufficient and independent, you because you have not been able to rely on people in the past. In some sense, perhaps that wall is sort of there, and you can come across a little bit fiery, a little bit fierce, and sometimes maybe a little bit defensive if people get on the wrong side of you. But deep down, you do have this incredibly soft, gentle side, this sensitive side that the right people do get to see and that the right people find really attractive and really sweet, honestly. I do get with the moon that this is a side of you that is more hidden. You know, it's not something that appears on the surface. So people who have just met you, they might not see this side, and therefore like they just see the like fiery side and they are attracted to that. But there is so much more to you than meets the eye. You have a lot of hidden depth, and you know, the people, like I say, who are lucky enough to see it really appreciate that. They really find it attractive. And with like the fourth house, I'm just thinking of Cancer energy. And you know, the archetype of Cancer, it's often perceived as sort of very motherly, very nurturing, very warm and comforting, very sort of emotion based. And I do think you have a lot of strong emotions. Like, I do think you are a very sensitive and emotional person, but sometimes on the surface, this emotion might come across as like in more of a fiery way, or like it might be delivered in more of a fire sign energy. Perhaps like your Mercury is in a fire sign or your rising sign or something like that, but potentially you also have like a lot of water in your chart. Could be, it doesn't have to be. You might appear like in a work setting, like you are very much the voice of authority, you're the boss, you come in and you're very assertive, you get stuff done. It's a bit like sort of daddy energy on the surface, but then underneath you could embody like more mummy energy, by which I mean, and again, this is like a stereotype, it's just a sort of archetype, but just to sort of represent the energy I'm talking about. It could be that you go into work and people think you're this daddy, like this boss, but then at home you could secretly have hobbies that people wouldn't normally associate with you. Like You could have more feminine hobbies that you don't talk about openly with people who don't know you very well. You could be very into nourishing the people around you with food, with providing comforting meals. You could be into baking or cooking generally. You could be into like knitting or crochet or just something that's typically associated with a more feminine energy. And the people who know this about you find it really attractive. They find it very alluring that you can tap into that side of yourself and you can be this quite polarizing figure. You can be both things, like the boss, but you can also be like the homebody. You have a great balance between those two things and accessing those energies. And the people who you allow yourself to be more soft around really appreciate the fact that you are allowing them to see that. So that is what I've got for you, pal 4. I hope that this is resonating so far. We are now just going to move along into your tarot reading, and then we are going to finish the reading with a message from the Sacred Self-Care Oracle. So I'll see you in the next bit of the reading, pal 4. Bye-bye. Welcome back to the tarot portion of your reading, pal 4. Let's have a look at the tarot cards that we got. Okay, so let's have a look at what you got. Okay, pal 4, so you got the 10 of Cups in reverse. You got the Moon. Interesting, because we got that on the Astro dice as well. You've got the 10 of Swords in reverse. You've got the 4 of Pentacles. You've got the Ace of Cups in reverse. You've got Strength. You've got the Ace of Wands. You've got the Ace of Swords. And you've got the Queen of Swords. Okay, pal 4, so looking at these cards, if we just focus on this 10 of Cups in reverse, I am feeling as though, unfortunately, in your past, you have dealt with a difficult home life in some way. You have dealt with a lot of conflict, a lot of disharmony at home. And I feel as though this is something that, you know, you've carried with you, and perhaps you are still working on this healing. You are healing with the aftermath of this domestic situation, this thing that was causing conflict. It could be that when you were growing up, this was potentially the relationship, well, regarding the relationship with your parents. Perhaps there was a lot of conflict in the house. There was a lot of shouting, a lot of arguments, a lot of aggression. And perhaps this was the way you kind of learned to deal with conflict in your relationships. You struggled with expressing yourself in an emotional way that was safe and healthy because that was never modeled for you in your life growing up. Perhaps there was a separation of some kind, a divorce, or even if, you know, your parents stayed together but they just did not have a happy marriage, potentially that could be the case. And, you know, you grow up like seeing that example modeled for you that wasn't really very healthy, and you carried those behaviors with you. So perhaps maybe you have used this kind of fierce energy, this assertiveness, as a little bit of a mask, and maybe occasionally in the past it has displayed itself in some not as healthy ways. Like, for example, because you are quite fiery and passionate, maybe it has come out as sort of anger when you have gotten emotional or something like that, or you have become defensive in a conflict because of this 10 of Cups energy that you have been through, what you have been exposed to in your childhood or growing up, or perhaps even in like a relationship in your adulthood. If you know, at one point you started a family with somebody and you have gotten divorced, or you have been separated from somebody at one point or another, perhaps there was sort of conflict that you had to learn to deal with when you were together, when you were with that person. And or it could even be both. Potentially you have dealt with a difficult relationship, but you could have also had that experience in childhood of seeing your parents' relationship disintegrate in some way. And maybe this is something that stuck with you in the sense that that is something you never wanted for yourself. You always wanted to create a safe space for your family and for any potential children that you had. So you could be stepping into this energy, or you could have already stepped into this energy of healing your inner child and expressing this fairness and this assertiveness in the best ways possible, using it to be a fierce leader and a fierce protector, rather than somebody who gets worked up easily or gets angry easily. Perhaps you are so committed to creating this safe space in your life and for your family, and for them to have a sort of inner sanctuary that they can go to and feel loved, supported, and safe. Perhaps you are working on that. And if you do have a current partner who sees you working on that, this could be something that they find really attractive. They could be very proud of you for trying to go against what you have learned in childhood and trying to redirect any anger or any negative emotions towards something productive, for trying to create a better life for you and your family. It could be that whatever you experienced has made you develop into, with the Strength card, this very strong person, and this person who, because you are so committed to cultivating that life for yourself and your family that feels safe, that feels nurturing, that doesn't feel like a war zone, essentially, is what I'm getting. You are very good at, not holding on to relationships that aren't serving you. Perhaps this isn't something you've always been good at, because I think you are a very committed person and a very loyal person. And with the Cancer energy that we got in the astro dice, sometimes Cancer can hold on to things a little bit longer than necessary. But I think you are out of this energy, and you know that for the benefit of your life and your family's life, like if you have children, then potentially your children's lives, you're not going to put up with any relationship that isn't serving you, that is just causing conflict. You know the detriment of staying in a relationship that is bad for you. You know that conflict can affect children, maybe because of what you've been through. So you're not going to put yourself in those circumstances. You're going to put like you and the people you care about first. And that is something that's like very attractive to the people who care about you, but also any potential partners. Because let's say you do have a child, the fact that you're always going to put them first before any potential romantic partner, people can see that you have a lot of values, and that is something that's very attractive. Again, they want to sort of have access to your world in some way, because they can see that you really protect and hold a lot of strength for the people that you care about. You are able to be strong for the people in your life who you have an intimate relationship with. You are able to put them first, and sometimes it takes a lot of courage for you to do so. Like perhaps in the past you haven't wanted to end a relationship because you are this loyal person, but you've had to in order to put the people in your life first, if you do have children or something like that. Again, with this moon, it's just reiterating what came up in the astro dice and throughout your oracle reading, is you have a kind of inner sanctuary that you are able to return to, and you have a much softer, more feminine side, a hidden side that not everybody gets the opportunity to see, but those that do feel as though it is something that's very attractive about you, something that they feel privileged to know. It could be that you deal with a lot of your emotions internally. Perhaps you have had in the past a lot of internal anger, but you are dealing with this. I'm getting with this Ten of Swords in reverse, that because of what you've gone through, it's been like a lesson learned, but you are also recovering from that. You are trying very hard to cultivate a life for yourself that aligns with your deeper needs and with this strength. You are working in yourself in many ways, and maybe that does mean like trying harder to open up to the people who care about you, the people who you do feel able to open up with. Maybe it's also a case of admitting when you're hurt, because I feel as though because you are quite a fiery person, that is something that people find attractive. But sometimes it can be like, instead of you admitting that you're hurt, you can just, if somebody says something to you that gets you in your feelings, you answer back in a way that cuts them down even worse. And sometimes you just need to be a bit more honest about the fact that what they have said, their words in some way have hurt you. But I feel because you are quite protective of yourself and your emotions, and because maybe you were never given a safe space to express these emotions, they just occasionally come out as anger. And some people are intimidated by that. They are a little bit scared, but also equally attracted to it, because they're like, oh, I don't want to mess with pile 4. Like, they could easily just totally shatter my ego in one heartbeat with their words, with the things they say, and people are quite intimidated by that. They just don't want to get on the wrong side of you, but sometimes that maybe could be something that you need to work on, because people are also very, very attracted to this softer, more vulnerable side. And when you are able to show that, it really develops your sense of connection with the people who are closest to you, and that in turn makes them even more attracted to you. And it makes them want to share more things with you and feel like they can open up their sort of hidden emotions more in that sense. With this Ace of Cups in reverse, it is giving me the sense that you do feel this overwhelming sense of overflowing emotions sometimes, but perhaps in the past it hasn't always been delivered in the best way. You haven't had the most healthy outlet to showcase those emotions. And yes, maybe it has come out as like this sort of fiery passion vocalization. You know, when you're upset about something, perhaps it comes out more in the form of you like starting an argument, or that's how it has come across in the past. And again, you could be working on establishing this healthy outlet, being more open, being willing to cry as well. I'm getting like maybe you are not somebody who frequently cries, or at least when you do cry, maybe it's always alone. You have never cried in front of anyone. You have never felt comfortable being emotionally vulnerable in that way. And that is something you are working on. And if you are working on being more vulnerable, the people around you, the people closest to you who are able to see that growth, find it really attractive and are also very proud of you for engaging with that growth and for trying to better yourself like that. With this Four of Pentacles, we got the Four of Pentacles in another reading. I think it was reading number 2, and it came across as like it was giving me the ick basically, because the person we were talking about in that reading, it made me think of somebody who was very controlling and didn't let their partner sort of express themselves. But with you, I'm feeling as though a reason that people are really attracted to you is because you can be possessive. And I just want to reiterate that this isn't possessive in like a controlling or toxic way. It's not like that, because I feel as though if you did have any toxic or controlling behaviors previously, that is something you are actively working on and you're trying your best not to put that on a partner. But I feel as though it's more in a protective way, and people feel very attracted to you because in your presence, they do feel very protected. They feel like you are able to stick up for them. They feel as though you have this energy of like, what's mine is mine, but it's not in a sort of gross, I'm not letting you do what you want way towards your partner or towards a potential romantic interest. It's more like you make people feel very wanted. You are committed, you are very loyal. So that makes people feel really desired by you, and they almost like being possessed by you. And it almost goes back to like what we were saying in the oracle, with you having these sort of magic capabilities or almost putting a spell on people. It's like they are almost possessed by you in that sense. They do not know what you have done to them, but it has got them hooked. They are happy to sort of be yours. There could still be like a tiny element of toxic behavior, but it's not something that's harmful towards your partner. It could be that you can be a little bit petty at times, and if you see your partner like talking to somebody of their preferred gender, you might get this little swell of competition or of ego, and you might go and sort of assert your territory a little bit. You might sort of just engage in some physical touch with your partner in front of that person, just to let that other person know they're yours. You only do this because, again, you are still learning, you are still healing, you are still developing trust with people in that sense. You have a lot of self-trust, but you sometimes struggle to trust other people. And sometimes you feel the need to assert yourself like that. I mean, it might not be something like that. It could just be that you are very proud to be with your person and you want to sort of show them off. You want to put your arm around them while you're out or something like that, just so they feel loved, so they feel this sense of warmth from you, and so they can feel confident that, you know, they are yours and you are theirs, like you belong to each other kind of thing. It's not just a sort of like one-way possessive, oh, you're not doing that, or I'm going to boss you around, or I'm going to tell you what to do. It could be that you can be a little bit bossy, but the other person, your potential partner, really likes this about you. Maybe they are somebody who feels they need that little bit of guidance, and because you are so self-assured, you can sort of give them advice and they like that kind of thing. Could be that sometimes, you can be dominant in the bedroom, or so they really enjoy being yours in that sense. And I feel as though even people who, you have expressed that you don't want a long-term thing with, even if it's just, a little bit of a fling on your end, because people do get so hooked on your energy, they almost want to like belong to you, even if it was a previous F-boy or girl, you kind of reform them. So even if you aren't an official thing with somebody, because they want to be sort of taken by you, they want you to kind of make it official, even if you've expressed that that's not happening. They might ask you if they are allowed to go on like a date with somebody else, and you're pretty much like, yeah, whatever, like we're only seeing each other, we're not exclusive, we're both welcome to date other people. But a small part of them wants you to be like, no, you're not going on that date, like I want you all to myself, because they want to be yours, they want to be possessed by you in some way. And this is the thing, and with all of these cards, to be honest, like with the Strength and the Ace of Wands and this Four of Pentacles, like you can be, like you are committed, you can be committed, and once you are committed, you are very loyal, but you're not necessarily going to just commit for the sake of committing. You have been okay for a long time with being on your own and with being independent and self-sufficient, so you're not just going to like go for the closest warm body essentially that comes your way. And again, like if you do just want a bit of a fling with somebody, you are quite open about this, you are upfront and assertive, but the other person almost gets addicted to the point where they feel like, oh no, this could really be something, like, I actually want more with this person. But you still see them from just a lens of, well, they can't give me everything I need because they've been in this F-boy or girl energy and I'm not about that, so I'm not going to go for a commitment with them, because when you do commit to somebody, you want it to be really somebody who is worthwhile and has that same sense of self-assuredness that you do, and they can be self-sufficient like you. You don't want somebody who you have to heal. With this Ace of Wands, I do get the sense that once you are committed to somebody, you are very passionate about them, you are very enthusiastic. You could be the type to be really good at planning date nights and things like that. You aren't the type of person necessarily who would just sit on the sofa with your partner on a Saturday night and not talk, just go on your phone. There's nothing wrong with sitting with your partner but also having a bit of alone time or going on your phone. I'm not saying that, but you're not going to be doing that all the time. You're going to be consciously making effort towards the relationship and making steps for the relationship to progress. You're going to always be enthusiastic about it, about planning different dates and going on new adventures and keeping the spark in your relationship alive. That is something that's very attractive about you, is you're not going to be with somebody for the sake of it. You're going to make the effort to keep the romance, keep the spark alive, and people find that really alluring about you, that you remain enthusiastic even in like long-term relationships when things, for some people maybe start to feel a little bit stale. You will try and keep that passion alive. This could be in a very physical sense, that you still make a lot of effort in terms of sort of like seducing people in some way, but it could just be in terms of planning things, in terms of planning dates. And even in your friendships, people feel as though you are very passionate about engaging with the friendship, about creating time and having new ideas of like things that you and your friends can do together. And people just find that very fun and attractive about you. With this Strength card, obviously, like, I have said repeatedly that you are a strong and assertive person. You have this very fierce energy. You have a very don't mess with me energy, and a lot of people do find it attractive. You are very courageous in the sense that you are okay with leaving a situation that doesn't serve you. you have had to be quite brave in the past, maybe due to this like past circumstance that you've been through, and that is something that shows through and something that, again, people are very attracted to. They're attracted to this passionate, fiery energy within you. And with this Ace of Swords, again, like it kind of goes on to the Ace of Wands as well. But with the Ace of Swords, it's like you are constantly coming up with new ideas, new challenges, new ways to make your relationship better or more exciting. And people really find this attractive about you. And it's not just something, obviously swords like represents air and it's a sort of thinking energy, but with the wands, it's like it's not just as though you will think it, you will actually put it into action. You are this go-getter energy, and people really find that attractive. People are like, you know, this isn't just somebody who is talking about doing something, they're actually doing it. They're actually like booking the flight to go on holiday. Like they've said, let's go on holiday. They haven't just talked about it, but they've sorted everything out. They've booked the holiday, something like that. Something that you kind of organize for people that makes them feel as though you are this boss, you are in control, and you can sort of sort things and accomplish things, and you will go after what you want and get what you want. People are very attracted to that. I just feel as though you have done such a lot of healing and you are really embodying this Queen of Swords energy, and potentially this is something that you always had in you. But I feel with all the healing you've done and the ways you have tried to develop emotionally, like the personal development that you've been through, I think that you are fully embodying this Queen of Swords. And with the Queen of Swords, you know, she is very honest, she's principled, and she's extremely fair. And I feel as though that represents you very well. You are always honest in the way that you approach things, the way that you approach people, in the ways that you interact. And although you do have the capacity to be quite harsh and be quite cutting with your words, because, you know, the Queen of Swords reverse, she can be quite harsh and quite spiteful. I feel as though you are not in that energy. And if you ever were, that's not who you are anymore. You use your powers for good, is what I'm getting. You use your words to express more of your emotions in a constructive way, and the people around you find this really attractive. They find the fact that you are so honest and assertive but without being cruel very attractive. There could be this sense that even if you have struggled with, you know, anger and things like that and strong emotions in the past, it could be that now you are very much in an energy that people are recognizing is more balanced and is more fair and less defensive. It's like you are really stepping into your power in that way, and people are finding it very magnetic. You could be giving more constructive criticism in like a work setting or just within your relationships, rather than, you know, immediately jump into defensive behavior. And this is something that people really appreciate it, and it makes people gravitate towards you more because they know you are being constructive with it and that it's coming from a good place and not a place of being malicious in any way. So that is what I am getting for you, pile 4. We are just going to finish up this reading by looking at the Sacred Soul Oracle. We're going to get a card from there and just finish up with some closing advice. So bear with me and we will do that. Pile 4, please. Oh, that wanted to come out. Okay, your oracle card came out super fast as well. So we have number 25, ground yourself. So 25 could be a significant number for you. This could be a significant age. It could be around the age you are now or when you were 25. Maybe this is when you did a lot of this healing work or when you went through this big transformation. Maybe by age 25, you have already been through such a lot with this 10 of Cups in reverse, and you already have like a family and a child or something like that, or you have dealt with these relationships breaking down and you've had to really deal with a lot of anger in order to get through these situations. You've had to deal with a lot of intense emotions. And this card is just really reminding you to ground yourself and to practice grounding activities, because you are somebody, I think, due to what you've been through and the level of emotions that you feel, but potentially are sometimes kept hidden. For some reason, I'm going back to this moon card and I'm getting like Scorpio moon or something like that. So maybe that is a prominent placement for you, or again, just like fire Mercury, or, you know, somebody who can be quite fiery in the way that they articulate themselves. And maybe sometimes this doesn't come through in the way you intended. So with ground yourself, like it's reminding you to maybe take the time to stop and consider before you react, to consider things more, to think about what you want to say. If you are in a situation where you are feeling angry, if you are in a conflict or something like that, it might be telling you to take the time out to remove yourself from that conflict and just take some time away to consider what emotions you are actually feeling and why you are actually upset. Because sometimes when we're in a conflict, when we're faced with a situation that makes us defensive, we can sometimes lash out without really realizing that that's what has happened. We can sort of jump on the defensive, but this is asking you to take a step back. It could be that you have to do something to clear your mind, like you go on a walk, or you ground yourself in nature in some way. It's sort of encouraging you to access a more earthy energy in whatever way that means to you. It could just be engaging with something creative to take your mind off the conflict that has happened. Just something that gives you the space to really think about how you want to proceed with that interaction and the things that you want to say to that other person. And if you know you have the capacity to be somebody who can be quite cutting in the words you use, it's really thinking about whether you want to say those things and whether those things are coming from a place of constructive criticism or whether they are coming from a place of you feeling hurt and feeling like you have to react and be defensive towards somebody. Because you do have the capacity with this Queen of Wands to be this very sort of objective, perceptive, fair, and principled person. I think you are already very principled in terms of your values, but sometimes your emotions can get away with you because you have so much passion, because you have so much fiery energy, and sometimes that results in you maybe saying things that you feel you shouldn't have said and you feel bad about that. So grounding yourself might allow you that opportunity to take a step back and to consider what you want to say and to consider how you want to go forward. Because when you are in this Queen of Swords energy and you are being honest, you are offering constructive criticism and you are being fair, people are very attracted to that. And, you know, not being as impulsive as maybe you are, I think that's the word I was looking for, impulsive in some of your language and the way you interact with people, that will attract opportunities to you, especially in terms of like career, because people will see that you are able to be grounded and balanced, and people really appreciate that in like a work sense, in a career sense. But also it will just make people feel as though they can open up to you more. Like if you have a child, let's say, this ability to ground yourself could create a better relationship with your child or with your children, because, you know, if they do something wrong, they might be a bit worried that you will get angry or you will jump straight to punishing them. And obviously, you know, if children do something wrong, there needs to be accountability. But I feel like you are stepping into this energy where that accountability, you know, could be delivered in a more constructive way. You are being more fair with it. And, you know, that creates a better relationship potentially with your children. But if you don't have children, just, you know, your family or the people around you, because they feel more confident opening up to you and knowing that it won't be met with anger, knowing that you can express your emotions in a more constructive way and it's not going to lead to conflict necessarily. So that is what I am getting for you, Pal 4. I hope this reading resonated. I hope you enjoyed it. If anything at all did resonate, please let me know in the comments, and please like the video, and if you can, please subscribe to help my channel grow. I really would appreciate it. Okay, thank you, Pal 4. Take care. Bye-bye.